na kwenye tackle. This is a show that we all always look forward to, that the Sheria Wiki on Friday with Daktari EKURU AUKOT, Daktari DUNCAN OJWANG na KIPCHUMBA KARORI wakili ambaye atakuja kutuambia ni vipi sheria inakwaje. Baraka Muluka leo ambapo kuchukua break kidogo, lakini atakuwa na sisi tena wiki ijayo ili tuweze kuzungumzia mambo yanayoendelea nchi ya kisheria, nani amefanya wapi, kwa nini na nini. Haya basi tunaanza show kama kawaida. Naomba ya kwamba when you join in, please like. When you like, I get to know that you're watching us, and after you like, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to watch the broadcast. When you join in, please like, share, and let us know where you're watching us from. So like, share, and let us know where you're watching us from. Kama kawaida, kabla tujaanza lazima tuende mbele za Mungu tuombe, alafu tukirudi tunajua kazi ni vipi. Mighty Father, we come before you this morning. We worship you, glorify your name. Thank you for another opportunity to be alive today. We thank you for this program. We thank you for the panelists. We thank you for the audience. May you speak unto them, and may you meet them at their point of needs. In Jesus' mighty name, I pray and believe. Amen and amen. Amen. Asante sana. Naona kuna watu wameamka tayari. Mnapenda sheria wiki kabisa. Naona kuna watu wameamka tayari mapema. Kuna watu jana walitumana maswali zao za kisheria. If you have any legal question that you want to address on the show this morning, please send it on the comment section. Nadhani tuma hapo swali kama kuna kitu ambao nataka ishughulikiwe ya kisheria. Nadhani send it there on the comment section. Alafu naweza kuangazia pamoja na our experts ambao wako na sisi, ama naitwa wasomi kwa Kiswahili, Daktari EKURU AUKOT, Daktari DUNCAN OJWANG na KIPCHUMBA KARORI wakili. Yuko njiani, karibu atafika hapa sasa hivi. Naona Vajep Kemwai, MCL Gomara kwa good morning. Good morning to you, Emmanuel Serem, my brother. Good morning, brother. Say hello to Dr. Amos Morris Kioko, and some good morning, great people. Good morning to you, Lele Albert, and some good morning. Sir, good morning to you, Vincent Kelagat. Good morning, Aaron Deritu. Good morning, sir. Kiprotich Kainemaya. Good morning. Good morning to you, Machuki Daniele. Good morning, Tetakola. Asante sana, Alan Kogo. Good morning, Bitok. We will continue borrowing. Mwombe kabisa. Nyamot Andego Isaiah Horach. Good morning. Good morning to you, Stephen Lomnyak Tito Lentomaga. Mpote sana kaka. And some good morning following from Thika. Asante sana, Johnston Kekotut. And some Yamuneti Onda. Yamuna Mushimiwa. Hope you're doing well. Parindo Mudhe anasema tuko locked. Asante sana. Munga Luta continue. Tuko ndani, my favorite show from Convent United Kingdom. Thank you so much, Munga Luta continue. Natumai ya kwamba leo ulikuwa umesema tuweke wakati kidogo. Natumai ya kwamba tumeweka wakati. Asante sana. Kusimba Desama anasema good morning. Good morning to you, Michael Ngambi. Anasema morning watching from Eldoret. Amos Morris Kioko, Morris Mombasa, Kenya. Asante. Chelagan Mayre, good morning watching from Westlands. Asante sana. Willy Koe tuko pamoja bitoka Santa Kiprop Vic, Gerald bitoka watching from Kabimoy. Elda Maravin say I to Daktari. Asante sana. Dennis Kirui, tama good morning. David Maru watching from Alberta, Canada. Natumai kwamba weather pia imeanza, hali anga imeanza kuwa tulivu kidogo pale Canada. Good to see you na karibu sana. Munga alito kuonyesha volume iko top. Asante sana. Alikuwa anasema sauti ilikuwa na shida. Natumai kwamba unasema kwamba sasa hivi tuko sawa, tuko shwari. Langade Evans Kushota anasema watching Wagungu Gadhuma diaspora umeturuka wiki mbili kabisa. Yes, tulikuwa last jana tulifanya 1 hour ya madaktari. 1 hour wengine ni kompaki diaspora. Watu wa diaspora mkaingia nyasi. Na nilikuwa nimefungua zote. Sasa walienda wapi? Thursday? No, but on Thursday we were here. It's on Friday that we didn't come because it was Easter Friday. Then yesterday we were there to find a show moja ya madaktari for 1 hour. So the second hour was supposed to be diaspora edition, but these guys never showed up. So haya, Wagungu Gathuma next week inshallah. Senior Muga sababu good morning Bitok watching from Westlands. Asante sana Kipkali Arab Kosgei watching live from Rainbow Rusiru. Asante sana bro, naona uko loyal kabisa. Every morning you're tuning in. Salimia watu wa Ruiru.
Kuna mtu wa diaspora ametujoin kwa issue as a guest. Whatever they are.
So they can join us anytime.
Yeah, as a panelist.
Kama uko diaspora, tafungua Zoom sasa hivi. If you want to join, please, you can join. You're going to open the Zoom link right away, then we'll share. If you're in diaspora, you can join the conversation. By the way, tuko na tapiga zawadi kidogo hapa na pale, endelea kushikilia, alafu takwambia zawadi gani ambayo inakuja. Endelea kukaa hapo, then tutachagua, tajua zawadi itatoka wapi tuweze kuwapea. Wilson Chelelgo anasema good morning to you. Paul Bitok mzee mwenyewe anasema good morning Tetako. Good morning to you sir. Ndungu Julius good morning. Good morning Dennis Kirui. Good morning from Kangemi. Asante sana Simaina hapa Elgonview Eldoret. Mushuku good morning Bitok watching from Loitoktok. Habedi Pop Kapombe tuned in from Mlolongo kama kawa. Asante sana tu Mlolongo. Ndakuja Mlolongo nitatafuta kina Steve. I'll come and look for you guys. Thank you so much for being loyal and making the tackle your favorite morning show. Chebore keeps Justin good morning watching from Machakos. Asante sana James morning Bitok watching from Moiben. Asante watu wa Moiben, nashukuru sana kuwaona. Philip Bungei good morning alive from JKIA. Asante sana, salimia watu wa JKIA ina OCBD Mr. Kosgei. Salimia sana ambia tackle na salimia zaidi. Silas Kiai good morning following from Jeremia 027 na Pedi Pop Kapombe. Gerald Bito karibu Mlolongo kesho Kalitos. Nitakuja Mlolongo, I'll be there. Weka nyama Mlolongo nitakuja. Chepchirchir kutoka good morning Gerald Bito. Good morning to you Chepchirchir. Anto Maid good morning. Anto Maid good morning Doa. Lokta sana watu wa Doa. Birut good morning tuned in from Melbourne Australia. Asante sana watu wa Australia, the land down under. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Keep sharing and letting us know where you're watching us from. Ben Koske watching from Flax. Asante sana. Hap Kitawan sama iko ndani. Andrew Kip good morning. Evan Sarap Serone good morning. Look from Nakuru. Bruce Lee Isadia anasema iko ndani. Pius Mpayas Mayo hapo sawa. Bitok sasa. Felix Kibono Chebet good morning Bitok. I'm watching from Kapsoya Eldoret. Asla TV Kenya good morning bro. Good morning to you. Haya tunaingia kazi haraka upesi alafu nikirudi endeleeni kutuma salamu mniambie unatazama kutoka wapi. Keep sending them, I'll get back to you niweze kusoma comments zenu. Na kama uko na swali ya kisheria, if you have any legal question that you would want consultation, by the way hapa ni mahali ambapo tunakupa legal consultation for free, pro bono, hatukuitishi pesa. Alafu basi unaweza kusaidia. This only show that gives you an opportunity to be informed, to be on the right side of information. Every Friday comes to you Sheria Wiki, Daktari EKURU AUKOT, DUNCAN OJWANG, Daktari DUNCAN OJWANG. Leo KIPCHUMBA KARORI wakili anaingia na sisi kuja kutuambia ni lipi linaendelea wapi kwenye ulingo wa kisheria. Kama kawaida nashukuru sana partners wetu ina Maridadi Motors, we really appreciate. Thank you so much for working with us. Maridadi Motors gives you an opportunity to import your vehicle directly from wherever you want to get it from. Is it Singapore, is it Japan, is it UK? They get to import directly for you and you get to save up to 300,000 Kenyan shillings. When you import with the Maridadi Motors, you get to save up to 300,000 Kenyan shillings. Also Maridadi Motors gives you an opportunity to save and you can get a car at 50% deposit. Alafu yale nyingine unailipa pole pole. Maridadi Motors also gives you an opportunity to invest your money. You get to invest your money, that is import to sell module, where you import a car or a vehicle or an asset under your name and you get to sell it and you get to 18% per annum in interest. 18% per annum in interest. That is only, you can never get such a deal anywhere else. Maridadi Motors gives you an opportunity in import to sell. Import to sell by Maridadi Motors. Maridadi Driving Academy also gives you an opportunity to learn how to drive. Ama kama umeendesha kidogo, ujuzi imeanza kukauka kidogo, unarudi pale kufanya refresher courses. Asante sana our partners working with us. D-Square pale Eldoret pia inakupa nafasi ya kupiga mngaro kabisa kwa bei nafuu. Asante sana Daktari EKURU.
Kwanza simwambie Maridadi Motors importie fleet, a presidential fleet for 2022. Sababu atuawachi nini?
CEO, umesikia? Eric, kuna biashara hapa. Fleet. Ya rais. EKURU AUKOT.
Yes.
Unataka magari ngapi rais?
Magari ya kutosha kuchapa raundi inchi na kuambia Wakenya ukweli wa mambo. Kuongea na Wakenya because unaona mambo yameanza kuzambaratika.
Mambo yamesambaratika. Yanaendelea kuwa ngumu zaidi.
Yes.
Na EKURU bana sikuwa serious na hiki tukupigia kura.
Wacha nikwambie, si hata last 2017 I was serious. Ninyi mlisema sijui ati sijui nini. Sasa mnaona. You know, in fact the good Lord works in very mysterious ways, as they say.
The good Lord bana is good in punishing.
Let me tell you how the good Lord works in very mysterious ways. It gave a chance to President Uhuru Kenyatta and his Jubilee government. The first one was called what? No, the first coalition. You see how that's there's something anyway. That one, you see, that's how difficult even to remember governments that governed us. So yeah, so they worked. The Jubilee, Uhuru was given a chance from 2013 to lead this country to some level of prosperity, but he never implemented the constitution as it was. He was actually the first. Can you say no? You know, the first, maybe the second president after Kibaki under the new constitution. Where therefore you expected some implementation of aspects of the constitution in order to actually uplift the livings and the lives of Kenyans. Yeah, but that chance went away. Then he was given a second chance in 2017 again to implement the laws and the constitution so that they can benefit these people of Kenya. And then, as I said, the good Lord works in very mysterious ways. They brought in a man called Raila Odinga, a brother to Uhuru Kenyatta. And the biggest lesson, I mean, you know, today, at the risk of turning a preacher man in the tackle.
It's an opportunity. It's past Easter, so maybe you're still in the spirit.
I think the good Lord was passing a message to Kenyans that we want to open your eyes, see the people we give leadership and how they have failed you. So this morning, as I was buying my coffee from Java, not that I'm promoting Java, a guy asks me, where are we headed? I said, well, he says, we are headed nowhere. I say, no, that's not true. I know for sure where we are headed. We are headed for total failure. We have already failed. actually we are just headed to the cliff where we'll tumble down and probably die if we don't do something drastic about this country, including the implementation of its laws, constitution. And you know, part of the messaging from the good Lord was that promote something called BBI, which has disunited Kenyans, which is causing a lot of heartache, which is taking away billions and billions of Kenyan shillings at a time of a pandemic when some Kenyans cannot even afford a mask every day, can afford vaccination. You saw what happened. We are now under lockdown in 5 counties, but at the same time, we will expect that the lockdown in these 5 counties will then trigger either mass testing, mass vaccination, so that then we control the spread of this. So I think, and also, I mean, last week has been very crazy for me because I've been too busy trying to fine-tune the revamped Punguza Mizigo bill, which we are now calling the Punguza Mizigo 2021. And this is a law that I want to promote, amendment to the Constitution, which will really look at how do we bring benefits to the ordinary Kenyans through the highest law. So the idea in Punguza Mizigo is actually using law as an instrument of social change. You know, that the law should be able to bring social change, positive social change in our society. And therefore, so today I want to say that people have been asking, where is the Punguza Mizigo bill? I've received so many questions. Yeah, so the issues are already there. They actually, and I've already sent a message to almost all my WhatsApp contacts. You can actually go online right now and sign. It is www.punguzamizigo.
www.punguzamizigo.
.org.
Okay.
So if you just go to that link, you already see about 10, 11 issues. We are still improving them because people want us to include certain things. For example, the medical fraternity has asked us to include the health commission, especially in the light of the lessons we have learned from the corona pandemic. And some are also proposing that some of the commissions we have are useless. We don't need them. For example, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, it is just being used to facilitate theft by the so-called bigwigs who are actually stealing from public coffers. So people are suggesting that we create a special department, either in DPP or DCI, that will just look at corruption as an ordinary offense of theft. Wizi. Corruption ni wizi. Hakuna story mingi hapa. And the penalties are provided for in the penal code. There is the civil, criminal procedure code that handles all this. So we simplify these things. This thing of corruption, even in your mother tongue, bitoko bana. Ama hata tuulize daktari hapa in Dholuo. What is corruption?
Corruption is wizi.
Yeah. Nyinyi Kalenjin mnasema chorinde.
Cattle rustling.
You see, coming by that's another interesting terminology that we really need to demystify in this country. You see, cattle rustling. I mean, I come from a community where, one of the description about us or those northern communities is that they are cattle rustlers. Honestly, if you look at what cattle rustling is, it's robbery with violence. Yeah, because my cattle is my property. If you come with a gun and take it forcefully, you're actually robbing me of my property. And that is robbery with violence. There's nothing called cattle rustling in our laws, but robbery with violence is there because my property, my cow is my property. I own it, and the law protects it. And you know, the sentence to that is that you hang by the neck until you die. So the same thing, coming back to questions of corruption. Let's demystify it. It is theft of public money. And when you steal, you must face the law. Yeah?
So wizi ni wizi.
Wizi ni wizi.
Punguza Mzigo, enda pale, nimeweka link pale, www.punguzamizigo.org, www.punguzamizigo.com. Kimbia pale aliweza kusign, yale mambo ambayo yako pale, usign bill ya Punguza Mzigo. Turudishe, tuweze kupunguza mizigo. Tupunguza IMF, tupunguze World Bank.
Exactly.
Tupunguze
IMF.
Tupunguze executive.
Punguza from IMF alone. You know, that is just, there's nothing miraculous or new the IMF loan will do to this country that the loans from China, from Eurobond, from EU, from I don't know where, even from the local banks. Why haven't those other loans transformed this country? But we have seen those loans being stolen. So even the IMF loan will be stolen. And let me tell you, I want to tell Kenyans today, especially us maybe at our age, it may not be you who will really suffer the consequences of that loan. If you plan to have a child, or you already have children, and your children are planning to have children, remember this. They are the ones who will bear the brunt of those loans.
Okay. Haya, naona kuna jamaa tayari washaendorse. Tafadhali go to the link that I posted online, www.punguzamizigo.org, alafu uweze kuendorse punguza mzigo bill. Turudishe kazi, tuanze kupunguza mzigo. Musa JBS good morning. Good morning to you. Kimbia pale uweze kuendorse punguza mzigo. John Kiblaga anasema tayari have endorsed. Ukiendorse tafadhali niambie. When you endorse, tell me you've endorsed it.
Na wasambaze pia.
Kipayas na uweze kuzungusha kwenye WhatsApp groups. Pia anaweza kushare kwenye Facebook. Kipayas Junior Kinda. Good morning, Peter watching live from Mombasa. Good show indeed. Nathaniel Mongare, hiyo ni kijana wa Mudavadi, youth leader wa youth league. Ndio Nathaniel Mongare, some always a pleasure. Tio nyingine, asante sana. Mika Langat anasema www.punguzamzigo.org. Asante sana daktari. I'm logged in. Punguza mzigo, ingia pale alafu uweze kuendorse. Abel Okech, laws. We need Chinese dictatorship for prosperity. Chinese ni hilo unalimwa direct. Eva Jebgemono alialia ya time hapo, mpata ya time yako tayari. Wanjiko Maria sana Florida Int. Asante sana. Can daktari address the issues of freedom of expression and right to picket and case point civil activists, and in particular Mwalimu wa Mutemi? That's part of the conversation we're going to have this morning. Evans Arab Serone daktari says something about IMF. Tunaingia hapo. Ya Sadra Mandago, kila mtu analia IMF. Arab Mutai William, huyu jamaa wants to help us. Punguza mzigo, it's getting heavier every day. What happened? Ndio hiyo pale. Punguza mzigo, www.punguzamizigo.org. Kimbia pale uweze kuendorse bill ya punguza mzigo. Asante sana. Daktari Ojwang, jambo.
Si jambo habari.
Nashukuru. Angalia kamera hapa. Unajua hizi you are not shy.
Thank you. Yes.
About the country.
Deep reflection.
Is reflecting on our behalf.
It is reflection, not
Right.
nothing to think about.
Or reminiscing.
You are reminiscing. You are living in the days. Right. How are you? How was your week?
My week has been good. I've been all right. Yes. 2 answers. Where do you want to go from?
Any thoughts of the week?
Okay. Yeah.
Man talks like a man who doesn't pay rent in this
I'm
town.
telling you.
Really?
You see, there is swinging on the
Taxes.
seat.
Or salaries.
No, Nini.
Being end month, he ought to have been under the storm.
Stress. La vida locus.
You're looking very
Live
composed.
And let it. No, because there is nothing much you do. I usually pray the serenity prayer. Oh Lord, give me courage to change what I can change, wisdom to know the difference, and the difference between what I can change and what I cannot change, and to accept. And that is very important.
Future as
Yes,
Eve.
I must be sustainable. Otherwise, you must, the Constitution talk of sustainability, by the way, as one of the principles. And we will do that when we talk of IMF and that principle of sustainability. But as an individual, you are all you have. You have yourself. So don't overthink these things. They are not that deep, but live your life in a sustainable way. I think this week I see a lot of things. I see
Including Penumbra.
diplomatic retaliation against the UK. But then I also see Kenya going to IMF, which is greatly owned by Britain, to borrow also. I also see that when Kenya retaliated against Britain, US, as a countermeasure, gave advisory against traveling to Kenya. So there is a little bit of a tackle there. And in a Kenyan way, I saw that the Parliamentary Committee on Health are not happy with the way the USAID have decided to distribute ARVs and to bypass KEMSA and to redistribute it using private companies and not use KEMSA to distribute it. Yet KEMSA was readily available to make sure this important pill gets into the hand of every Kenyan.
Isn't KEMSA the same organization that looks for guys walking by and handing them tenders of
But Gerald, my good
Karori, how are you?
the week has been tough. What the good professor is not telling Kenya, if you pay salaries in this town, if you pay other things, taxes, and you help Uhuru Kenyatta pay China, you know that every fourth week is not a good week. At times we look like we try to even hide somewhere. And that's why I was telling somebody the other day, if I survive with my hair without balding in the next 20 years, God will have been, I'll need to say the serenity. I'll say the serenity prayer. But coming
man
back
is a positivist. 20 years.
but I've seen a lot of advertising that people are growing hair. They are advertised like spas now. So I don't know how true they are. But coming back to what my good teacher of law is saying, there is something that Gerald, you need to ask yourself. Mimi nimekuja kukupea ugali kwako, kusaidia watoto wako wako njaa. Is it in your business to tell me sahani zenye ndatumia? If I decide to even give them with plastic plates, at least there is food. KEMSA is the same body that people are praying, unaomba ukipitia pale KEMSA, you get your 140 million tender. Do you want Americans to donate their money and we use their money the same way we misuse Kenyan money? I think they are a little bit bright. Number two, you cannot tell us you want to use money, more money than the cost of ARV to distribute ARV. The third thing is this: if we have regulations or a framework in place and the USAID people are not distributing, let's say for example, expired ARVs or ARVs that have been declared obsolete, why? What we need to ask ourselves, why is it that there is so much interest from KEMSA to deal with ARVs when they cannot distribute masks that are zinaoza kwa their stores? You know,
Free masks.
yes,
Chinese mask.
nyumba inaungua cannot also be the arena where people are going to discuss anything. Even dowry.
Or
You
take
cannot
refuge.
invite us to a burning house to discuss dowry. People are losing their lives because of lack of ARVs. Why are members of parliament putting us, and we know why they want that thing. The people, some people sitting in those health committees are the ones having tenders to distribute these things. So what they are fighting for is not how a man or a woman in Homa Bay will get ARVs. They are fighting for how their lorry or how their trucks will get these drugs to Homa Bay. So we must call, some of these people must be called to order. And as whether the tackle between America, USA, and America, Britain, and Kenya is worth it. You can't fight Safaricom and you have Fuliza. That is how I sum this. You cannot go begrudging the green color. No, you can't, because Gerald, it is the same British wamewafuliza kitu kidogo. You cannot come here and start lecturing them.
And Fuliza is helping a lot of people. And you know, at this rate, Gerald, let's just be honest.
Actually, we are a Fuliza economy.
Yes, we are a Fuliza
If the
economy.
government is Fulizering, why will we?
But the number one Fuliza.
But the question is,
By example.
but the question is, if you live by Fuliza, what you are supposed to do? As you say the serenity prayer, and after saying the other one, what do we call the other one? Hail Mary, full of grace. Umejawa, yes, the rosary. You must also say Hail Safaricom for providing Fuliza. Our government has failed.
Safaricom imejazwa na neema.
Yes, ijazwe na neema. Na shareholders waendelee kusikia vile wanafikia.
Unajua bitok mali tumefika.
Yes.
I think even if the devil was to descend from wherever hell is today to Kenya and help Kenyans live even a day or 2 days, I think we should welcome even the devil, because the angels we have had. Yeah?
We should try the devil for
At
once.
least should try the devil. If the devil is going to bring good, make sure that at least people even get those ARVs, or stops even the theft of money.
Then let's have the devil.
Then let's have the devil. Because with the angels we have had, have actually ruined the lives of Kenyans.
Yeah. Still, as the mic is on you, can we look at the IMF issue? Kenyans last week were on rampage on social media. They took over IMF social media pages. They took over Twitter. They took over Facebook. They took over their live streams in IMF until the IMF gave a statement. But it gave a statement that was wishy-washy. But anyway, do you think what's your thoughts about Kenyans? Do you think Kenyans are finally woken up, or they're just having fun?
That goes into the heart of our laws and constitution. The question of accountability. What Kenyans are asking, that please IMF, if you must give loans like China has done, like many countries have done, have you bothered to seek proper accountability on the expenditure?
Public participation.
Before even, public participation is one, of course, that's very important, but also accountability of that money. And I think Kenyans are raising a very pertinent, very important question. These loans that we've been receiving in our names, because it's being received in our name as Kenyans, that we are going to do A, B, C, D to uplift the lives of Kenyans. Kenyans are saying it's been a lie all along. We've seen SGR. SGR has borrowed or gobbled about 350 billion plus 366 billion. And you know why Kenyans are asking now, are rising up? Because if you look at the way, for example, SGR money was spent, it was completely going to people's private pockets. Why do I say that? Because the number one landowner in this country is Kenya Railways. So the difference between the meter gauge railway, which the Muzungus left for us, and the SGR,
which has been there running,
is a matter of width. So all you need to do is expand the width, and then you get the SGR. Okay? So the same questions Kenya are asking to IMF, please, if you are also a responsible organization, don't fleece us in the pretext that you are giving money to this government, which has been stealing money or we cannot account money. I mean, Kenyans are also raising a pertinent question. They are also calling on their representatives. Have they actually even brought a motion, probably even to approve the borrowing of such humongous amounts of money in billions? It's a question Kenyans are asking, and I think...
You have too much faith. Which leaders? They all bought.
I totally agree, Karori, Wakili. It's true. But while they are there, we still...
we must remind them because
yes,
they still draw a salary.
Exactly. They still draw a salary from us. So I love what Kenyans are doing. I love the fact that Kenyans are passing a message to any... by the way, some of these institutions, the IMFs, the World Bank, they are also predators. They really like to put countries in a certain state of affairs. I remember there's a time the Ugandan economy was doing so badly, I think in a couple of years back. And IMF released a report and said that Uganda's economy was doing very well in East Africa. So I think I like the messaging from Kenyans. By the way, in the interest of disclosure, I signed the petition.
You signed it.
I signed the petition.
I did sign too. Did you sign? IMF.
IMF, the Kenyans are more optimistic than myself. Because I don't know. Of course, for the right reason, they have bypassed Parliament. Because, Parliament is clear. You talk to the hands because my ears cannot hear. You are seeing how Shabina Shege is shouting because KEMSA has been bypassed. You know the pathetic report they brought on KEMSA. About KEMSA scandal, where the suspect come and simply say, I don't know about you, but I believe in prayer. There are some answers that if you give an investigator, it shows to what extent, or they will ask a question, and the person will say, I'm not going to answer that, or let me consult and make a phone call and say, I'm not going to say that. I mean. It is a mockery. It's painful to watch our parliament. So Kenyans have done the right thing, but I don't know whether they know what IMF is and World Bank.
Kenyans are signing,
because that is why Magufuli, the first people Magufuli sent from this country is IMF. Because Magufuli, read economists like Dambiza Moyo. He knows how easily it is. She calls it rent money. How easy it is to steal money that come as aid or loans, because they don't come through KRA and all that. So it is easier. It's hard, a little harder, but not hard for Kenya. But it's a little harder to steal money that come through KRA. But it's very easy. She calls them rent money. It's very easy. It's like giving somebody, you don't know whether they put it in their pocket or briefcase. It's very easy to steal these loans, these grants, this foreign aid. Now, if you look at the history and I teach sometime a course called Law and Development, that between IMF and third world countries, it is third world countries that have been developing IMF. And yes, and they will come with nonsense after a while of talking of Africa rising. Which Africa is rising? When you so because of infrastructure and all that. Sometimes I like Chinese. Chinese say, you know what, you are a sovereign. I have come for business. I'm not going to lie about democracy and the national interest. Me, I want to grow my money. I'm a lender. Period. Let's cut the chess. But these Western countries, you know, we are partners. There is goodwill. When you hear words like that, even in handshake, that I've given my brother goodwill. People don't need goodwill to do bad things. I hate those words. You know, we reached out to each other. Please don't reach out, because every time people reach out, bad things happen.
It is a win-win situation.
Right, for both of them. So if you look at how China handles us, nobody signed a petition about China, because China is simple. They're saying you are a sovereign. If your leaders corrupt things, that's your problem. Me, I'm a lender. I'm growing my economy.
I'm giving you money.
Beat it.
And I want my money back.
Yes. But this...
Give me a collateral.
And I hold it. Yes. But this...
Like a bank.
Yeah. It is a bank.
It's a bank.
But the IMF and all this, you know, there is a human rights report produced by US on everybody. Of late, I've started reading the China report on US. China is the only country that produce human rights report on the US. So they produce human rights report. They produce, I don't know, this is how to grow economy. They have sent us the dinosaurs route, literally, because they are the ones who are protecting their interest there, bringing globalization, and they know very well that this, as some economists call it, corruption development. Corruption does not start when KEMSA take the mask. Whether they now, if somebody grab all those masks, whether they now enjoy the luxury of putting on 3 masks in a day. Corruption starts by designing a project that you know very well.
Doc, pause there, kidogo.
Yeah.
Can we help Kenyans change their mindset? Let's drop the word corruption. Talk of theft. What starts?
Okay, theft. Fair enough. So somebody design a project, whether it is SGR, as they are saying, Ndongo Kundu, where I don't know, it was 1 billion per kilometer, 1 million per kilometer.
Na wameanza kukula daraja.
It is designed to it. So the whole project is corruption. Before money is lost, and even if it is not lost, it is a project designed to it. So, but I think Kenyans are in the right path. It sucks to be you Kenyans. It really does, because it's a very hopeless situation.
I will differ with Prof. Let him finish.
It's like watching a long funeral program. That is what this is.
Gerald, there's something on IMF.
On IMF, please.
One, the book the good professor is talking about, for those who have capacity or who still have the energy to read. Even
Dead aid.
Yeah, dead aid. Why it is not working for Africa and other ways. By Dambisa. And she has also written good books. I think 3 other good ones. The better one, when you read the Dead Aid, you read also The Age of Chaos. It talks about how people fight for donor aid not because they want to help the country, but to get the 3%. Is it 3%?
Oh yeah,
that is given
that's
to the
allowed.
brokerage.
Yes.
You get immediately the money hits the account, you get 1.5%. How much is 1.5%
of trillions?
Of 255 billion.
Yes.
So I think, but coming back to Gerald, the issue of Kenyans rioting and doing everything, I have my take on this. Whereas the spirit is good, but the initiative, you know, we have what we call the buyer's remorse, the Stockholm syndrome, where you appreciate the captor. Once in a while, we come out to clap for the people who persecute us. That is what Kenyans are suffering
We even
for.
defend them.
Yes. Look at it this way, Gerald. Where do Kenyans put their brain 15 months from now, where will they put their brain? You will see them here coming, komera, 10 million strong. They'll be even be carrying a full loaf, will cry.
Even wheelbarrow will be on the table.
They'll be carrying all manner of things. Somebody will even come with an all orange, which has been made bigger than a mattress.
And people will also be rolling wheelbarrows,
Yes.
as we are already seeing them.
And somebody will be carrying a wheelbarrow. A wheelbarrow is so heavy. But today, what is happening is this.
Am I
But
suspecting where
today-
Karoli is going with this?
But today, the danger is this, Gerald. The danger is this. While we might say that Kenyans are the most patriotic lot in the world, why haven't we seen people in Greece write to IMF? It is not that way. Let us call a spade a spade. The problem is here. Kenyans, every 5 years, they are accorded an opportunity under Article 136. To go to the ballot every second Tuesday. What do they do with that opportunity? They vote the highest broker in town. They vote the most cavalier of characters. They leave a EKURU AUKOT here, people who have shown integrity. When my good professor presented himself for an election in Luo Nyanza, what happened?
Boy, did I suffer.
What happened? They asked the question.
He has never recovered, actually.
Yes. Do you have a clip of you praising Baba? They did not ask him, do you have an economic policy? So, at
Uko na
times,
video mahali.
yes, uko na video mahali
But
unaongelea.
in fact, I've since learned
Jacob.
at the Luo word that they will tell you, now that you have spoken, can you untie me? Gonya.
Na wanakuambia, we have not seen you saying Baba got pegged. That's how it is saying, Professor. So, when Kenyans are suffering, I know at the end of the day, we cannot run away from the blame. But we must tell Kenyans, hii kiatu inawafinya kwa sababu every time 5 years ikikuja ya kununua kiatu, mnaenda kuangalia branding ya mali mnanunua viatu, si kiatu mnanunua. So we have an opportunity, Gerald. Some of these malpractices are fought at the ballot. We have an opportunity to change. Why don't we even begin by asking ourselves, some of these people who cannot run their own family businesses, what magic will they have running the country? Some of these people cannot manage even an insurance company, and they are telling us we have the magic to turn around the economy. Do Kenyans take themselves seriously? I think not. So when it comes to, whereas I support the spirit of Kenyans coming out and telling IMF stop, I have not seen anybody in the compound of some of the people who are signing IMF loans. Nobody has even gone to even do what we call, Professor, the small demonstration and picket in some of the people who have captured us. We are where South Africa was when Zuma was leaving. We call it, what's the name of that Muzungu? There was the Muzungu who had captured the Zuma government.
It was the Indian, not the Indian family.
The Guptas.
The Guptas, so Indians.
Yes, the Guptas, those, the Hummels, all that, we are under that. And at the end of the day, we need to ask ourselves as Kenyans, there are things we need to go down and ask. Well, even we sit down and see the probe of KEMSA, where somebody comes, because they are proxy, they were told, sign for me this document, nifungue kampuni. They don't know that company, where the proceeds go to. They say, I prayed and
God answered me.
God answered
in
me.
the most special way.
Kwani maombi yetu wengine inaendanga wapi, Gerald? Or it is consumed with smoke. So that's what I'm saying. At times some people should just be short on
You don't
sight.
pray hard enough, Karori.
No. The issue
You don't supplicate.
No, the problem is maybe my skin color
Maybe you
and
pray, but you don't
gender
have.
do not allow my prayers to go far.
God cannot see you clearly.
Yes, that might be the problem.
Okay, there's something God has to answer, Dr. EKURU. That's in here, Mwananchi. Ataklo is watching. Anasema, Dishmash kama anasema succession, I'm on it now. That thing is damn expensive at 5% of the total value of assets. I was thinking, can I scale down some of my dad's assets to forward a much smaller value to the advocate so my 5% also comes down?
5% of what, sorry?
Now, I'll just read as it is.
Huh?
I'll read as it is.
Okay, huh?
This guy is handling a succession case. The father passed away.
Succession. Huh?
Yes.
Succession
So he's
cost.
saying, I'm on it now, and that thing is damn expensive at 5% of the total value of assets.
To the government?
I was thinking,
Government tax, yeah.
can I scale down some of my dad's assets to forward a much smaller value to the advocate so my 5% also comes down?
Well,
And actually, this has been a recurrent question, you remember? We had the same question on succession. Maybe
The only unfortunate thing is, because government it's not only about succession causes by the even property. Now they've introduced other crazy taxes to widows and everybody. Yeah? So even if you do, they will normally...
Even there's tax in death.
Yes, they will actually come snooping, by the way, and say, what is the valuation of this property? So they will even question the value themselves. They will even tell you have undervalued. And for me, I even have a very, well, that's a far-fetched example to give. But yes, they will still come and insist on their own valuation because it's government-driven. Yeah.
Okay. So what's the procedure of succession? What's the best way to handle succession?
It is to probably estate planning
Get on your
before
micro.
somebody dies. It's much better because you can know how to plan better. And I don't blame Kenyans who don't want to give the government a lot of their money. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what companies do, and small and individuals should do. Yeah, I mean,
it is illegal.
If you can help, because this is a man-eat-man society. So if you can help the thing from eating you, you are actually morally justified.
Sustainability.
That's what capitalism is, isn't it? Capitalism is about taking from everybody. So if I can delay my turn being eaten or giving them less to eat as wolves, I think it is moral. But so estate planning should come before death. It's
now
better
that
that way.
is here.
But now that death is here, one, I've never done estate planning. Let me not wing it. Two, again, it's a very technical area, to be honest. And I'm afraid we can talk in generality, but nothing can supplement sitting with a lawyer who get the whole story, you know, so that person cannot go with clips before we get the whole story, because it depends. You know, that answer is not just it depends. We don't know much. So within those 3 lines, you are not able to come with a legal advisement. And not all lawyers, I think our court have a little bit of experience in estate planning. Even trust in the state, I skipped that course in law school. I remember one legal opinion which said there was a lawyer who messed up an estate, and there's a court which said this is a very technical area that even if it is malpractice, we can understand if somebody messed it up. So let him seek, depending on how big the estate is, because it looks like it's a big estate. I admire him. Some people have a estate to manage. Let him find a lawyer.
But also I think the other maybe piece of advice, because here we are now giving generalities, we don't really know the integrities. Right. If I sat down with him and maybe understood the whole thing, I'll be able to give a proper advice. Okay. Maybe now Kenyans also need to move to these areas that the rest of the world has moved on, which is about wealth management, wealth and asset management. They're actually now experts who just handle that, so that you don't have to worry about this thing with the government taking away part of your property. I mean, and Kenyans should learn to invest in their in their
good auditors.
Yeah. Yeah, so go. Oh, okay, yes. So I'm thinking, asset management is like Doc has said, it's a very complex, but we need to understand the whole story. But he's saying
I think he's trying to.
No, if he says now, can I undervalue? You see, he will be putting himself into more trouble.
These guys are sniffing. Doctor just said these guys are sniffer dogs. On 2 legs.
Adding to what my 2 seniors have said, first, you can't reinvent the question without the specificities. We can't reinvent it. It's like somebody telling you, describe how a jet looks, that thing that goes to the moon. Perseverance rover. I have not seen one. I can't describe. So I don't know whether it has a tail or it doesn't. But the other thing is this.
You also ask how it took selfies in Mars.
Yes. But the question is this that we must ask. The best way to spread the risk is not to undervalue. Okay. The problems are more. Yes. The best way too is to know where the reliefs have been issued. When you look at the whole
Reliefs and
estate,
waivers.
yes, there are places where reliefs are, there are places where he can get a tax relief, there are places he can get so many other things. So what he must do is that he must know that there are two things. There is tax avoidance and there is the other one, which is illegal.
Tax evasion.
Tax evasion.
Which one is legal?
And
Which
he's
one is
about
illegal?
to, and he's about to evade tax.
Yes, tax
which will may land him in
evasion
prison.
is illegal by undervaluing, but by spreading is tax avoidance, which the law supports. Yeah, that capitalism, what the good professor is talking about, and I'm calling it sustainability. You must sustain yourself. Two, there is also the other question of I have never known the rationale behind dead people paying tax. And they have not gone with the property to the grave. We will always tax the property. You know,
The ownership has changed. That's the rationale.
no, well, the ownership has changed, Prof. But the question is, if my son is taking over my car, it is still consume the same petrol, but it is not now an asset to him directly because he has not removed it from the same tax circulation because the petrol it consumed, it still consumes. One, if my son was buying the car, it means he has some income. That one is different.
That's different.
But it is just something that is resting on him because I gave birth to the son. If it was the other way around, if I didn't have a son, for example, it will go what we call escheat vacancia. Yeah, it will have escheated to the state. So are we saying the state will have paid tax?
Well, the state is being impatient because they want to grab that which is not theirs, and they are already trying.
So you're saying since we cannot grab, at least let's get something.
Let's get something. Yes.
Okay. Another question is okay.
You know, Wakili Karoli brought a very good point, but I'm getting impatient of these good points. So wondering what else is he going to do? In this sense, I am seeing people who are stuck up in where Kenya messed up in the election. I agree, election is big deal, Wakili, right? But people can redeem themselves, and nobody knew. There was nobody who put as their manifesto that I'm going to borrow to death. So this is surprising even for those who might have voted for Uhuru. Not me, but those who might have voted. It's novel. Nobody knew he was going to borrow to this extent. But the reason I'm saying that, it always comes as a way of helping the same abuser. So you find ODM supporters saying, you sank
Komera.
so shut up, tumalize safari.
Well, they're in.
You know it is bitterness or they are suicidal because you are also suffering, are you not? And then it is like on your face kind of thing, and you are saying no, kapo tulia. No, I've learned from my mistake. I want to move on. But you are simply now asking me to be suicidal and telling me that this was a suicide note, and meanwhile your party leader is in handshake.
Well,
but you don't want
in
to.
State House.
Right.
He's in
He's in bed with the
With the person you are blaming.
multiple orgasm. Yes. So here you simply come to you are diverting responsibility. You are diverting that the story has moved. Yes, you who was warning me very well that revolution eats its baby, you have also moved to be the baby, and you can't help to be in the hands of the captor, but you still go back to my mistake 4 years ago as a way of avoiding that. Now we also have a handshake government, just the same the other side. So I've had that argument, and every time I hear it, what is not being said is be quiet and let president do whatever he wants in subtle way, not always, but in a subtle way. It's a defeatist, it is suicidal. It is like saying things are so bad, you can only do things after 5 years. But Karoli have explained severally about public participation. about self-determination and sovereignty as an ongoing. It's not an event, isn't it? It is something that every day I exercise my sovereignty.
It is a means to an end.
So that August 8th or whatever the date is, yes, I have made bad choices. But on the next day, I can wake up and exercise my sovereignty otherwise. But if you freeze me
on the
to the way you made your mistake, then yes.
Why I was surmising it in
Yeah,
that nature
yeah.
was for a simple reason, so that because in 15 months' time we will be
Because
going
you know
to
I'll
an
make
election.
another mistake.
Yes, actually, my problem was not that you made a mistake.
Right.
In
But I'm getting ready to make.
You are getting
But
ready,
you know,
and we can see when we ask people. You know, every time my question is this, and I have always doubted.
Have people learned? No.
We know actually.
have
Do
not.
we even take time to learn?
Right, no.
Are we interested? But the only time Kenyans come close to feeling a government is when petrol is increased. Even when we sit here,
the price of other smaller commodities.
yes. Even when we sit here, there was a day I was discussing with somebody, and I asked somebody, "Do you really understand the effect of Evergreen blockading Suez Canal?" But he told me, your problem, you went to school and forgot basic things. That maize grows kwa shamba na unakula unachoma. I told him, you don't understand. The problem is not that. The problem is that we are an import economy. So, if somebody who I thought having a degree would have helped him look at things from a global figure could not understand, now we come back to the Kenyans. But we have a duty as public intellectuals to always call them out and say, look here, although you went to bed with your captors, even the people who say tialala, they have a responsibility. And as you have said, it is defeatist for them to come and
Simply say
that it is you who voted Uhuru Kenyatta twice. That is not the problem. The problem is this: we are in a boat, we have agreed to travel, and somebody is sinking the boat here now. We can't say your mother prayed for us when we began the
Therefore,
journey. No, therefore, if you sank us, it is your mother's prayers that has brought us here. Going to the future. And we will always be here to tell Kenyans they are about to make also another mistake. If you ask Kenyans, all these things we are
But who are Kenyans? Can we demystify this thing? Kenyans.
you and the other people.
Yes.
We are Kenyans. But the question is this.
Yes. But me, I've refused to make that mistake, Karori.
No, and that is good. You know, I told the other question we have always made.
You are an outlier.
You are, and the question
are very
is,
few
the
of
question
you.
is, we are trying to win more people to come to your side. Where they say,
We are in one team here.
yes, we are in one team. The team saying, pull
The good
as many
team.
people as possible. Yes,
You know,
but the question we need to go back. There are people we are giving them a chance to run away with murder. They have killed somebody. We have seen the tool that was used to kill. There is a CCTV footage.
There's a
clear.
pattern of how they kill.
Yes,
We see it.
we know they are the mentors and the actors. Reus was also there. Those people are called parliamentarians. If today you are to meet parliamentarians, they are whining more than Kenyans. They are saying, parliament died. But I asked them, but you are here.
But you are here.
How did it die?
and you have not resigned.
And you have not resigned. So, at the end of the day, and I support Kenyans, we must all of us unite to send home anybody who was in this parliament. They cannot come
And
out
government.
and say Uhuru Kenyatta was a bad man, or Raila Odinga brought handshake. Well, most of them, when they go to Bunge, they debate about Magufuli who has just died, but not the Kenyan economy which is dying. Which one is better? Are we better debating a dead person or one that is dying? The Kenyan economy is dying. It is at the ICU level. We can sustain it and bring it back to HDU, but we are debating a dead man.
Two quick things, Bitok. And I agree with KIPCHUMBA and Prof. That, a pattern has been created, and I can understand his pessimism that in 15 months' time, Kenyans will
We are
still
getting
do the
ready to make
same
this
mistake.
mistake.
Yeah, because actually that pattern has been created over time and it's become the reality. So we can regurgitate on it, but I think some of us have decided we are going to keep speaking truth to power, speak truth to the Kenyans. But, let me summarize it this way. Kenya is like your own mother. Hata kama mama yako ni mchawi, utamkataa? Yeah? Si mama yako. So, hata mtu akikwambia mama yako ni mchawi, you'll even pick a fight with that person. And this is exactly what's happening to Kenyans. majority of Kenyans who supported this government, who supported the so-called handshake opposition, that they cannot because when they were in opposition. So they will pick arms and even almost kill each other when they live in the same squalor, same situations. I mean, there couldn't be a better time to learn lessons as Kenyans than during this pandemic time, where it does not actually matter how rich you are. You remember when the whole world had closed down, whatever billions you had, you couldn't travel, they couldn't help you. So I think it should be an awakening for me to Kenyans, and I like the way Karori is poking on Kenya and telling them that we know you. You will make the same mistake in 15. Yeah, the problem. Yeah. So at least ni mzuri kukumbusha wa Kenya. And for me, sometimes I say, at the risk of being this a narcissist or what? Those people love to inflict pain on people.
Narcissist.
Yes. I say sometimes I love it when Kenyans actually suffer. Let's suffer. Yeah, wacha tusikie uchungu kabisa until we deserve it, because
that is being suicidal.
This pretense, this pretense of ours that we complain, because you see, let me tell you, I was having a very interesting conversation this morning as I was buying my coffee, and a friend tells me, very educated fellow, actually a fellow lawyer, complaining bitterly about the country. So I listened to him. Of the problem we have in this country is the pretense. People in the know analyze Kenya's problem so eloquently and so well, but they do nothing about it.
Okay.
They talk about how the economy is collapsing, how Kenya Power is already now, just stealing from people by inflating bills, the fact that now people have closed offices, there's no business, but we are not seeing the connection between the problems we are going through and the governance that we put in place, we installed.
Okay.
And that's the pretense that is Kenya. I think Kenya is one big joke.
But
one big jungle of
just
jokes.
as a conclusion, Gerald, there is something that also we must speak to. As Daktari is talking about the people in the know, there is something that must actively be done about professionals in this country. They cannot sit and rely on Twitter and rely on hashtags and rely on KOT or whatever it is called. They must come down from the utopia. They must leave the ivory tower and come also and help us in changing leadership in this country. We have so many intellectuals in this country who have refused to come down and even offer themselves for leadership position. Look at the things the assemblies were doing. We need intellectuals to go to those assemblies. Look at the things parliament are doing. Ask yourself today, how many doctors do we have in parliament? Look at what KMPDU is going through. Why? Because professional bodies in this country have not actively participated in the politics of the nation. That is why we go back to that old adage that when you get an A, you will be employed by the person who got a C, not by the person who got a D, because that who got a C will become a policeman to guard the person who got a D. That one who got a B will become a lawyer to defend that person who got a D. We are in that society. Because at the end of the day, even the people in the leadership in this country, we do not know their intellectual capacity. Some of them, we do not even know whether they went to school or not. That is what...
Anyway, guys, but guys are good until they get there.
The top leadership of this country are intellectuals.
All right.
We should be giving
Okay. And the thing is, I think most of the guys, when they're out here, even Karori is a very good man now until he gets to parliament. Kama kuna mapepo huko yiko huko. I mean, that's left to time. But anyway, we'll see. Unless we hope you get there someday. So I'll read the comments. When I come back, I'll come back to you, Juang, on a question from Mwananchi. 2 questions, actually. One question from Mwananchi na moja. The issue of Boni Okemo says, great minds at work. I hope and wish all Kenyans could be listening or watching this. Asante sana. Alfin Sheria endorsed. Asante. Governor P. Mushendo, pass my regards to the gentleman in the studio. Ambia Karori achukue simu. Karori, sijui uliacha wapi simu yako. Waweza mwendo uchukue simu.
Kwa mwanasiasa akiona simu hiyo na epo.
Amasa kuweka dunga. Shadrack Manda anasema I tried to sign punguza mzigo but already has been signed for me. Interesting.
Sending me their signatures.
Wow.
Guys are already signing.
Nasema kwamba kuna mtu amemsainia tayari. Na pia mwisho anasema already endorsed. Asante sana Ernest Mananga Junior. Good morning from Utawala. Torori Victor, good morning watching from Kisii. Good to God Joshua, that's a tackle. You can't abuse Safaricom yet you have Uliza. Haya. Fikro Voke, time please, I have endorsed and shared. Felix Kiptoa, Wakili Karori, we have faith in you. Elias Kipchumba, KOT is a force to reckon with. Senior W. Sagini. In Japan, corrupt person kills himself or herself. In China, they will kill him or her. In Europe, they will jail him or her. In Africa, Kenya, the most corrupt presents himself or herself for election and is cheered, supported and voted for overwhelmingly. Stupidity. We the people. Haya, Hilary Kimtai, KOT has taken the role of opposition in Kenya. Wagugu Gatuma, but the devil is already here, daktari. Ulikuwa umesema waite shetani lakini kumbe tayari ya area. Yes, attend. Lydia Matia anasema she's watching. Thank you so much Lydia Matia for watching. Ezekiel Koeche Kuru, welcome back. The biggest corruption institutions of the world are IMF and World Bank. We are poorer because they know that all the interests will enrich themselves, will enrich them, and our loans richest 3 families out of 48 million Kenyans. Mulili David, salute to intellectuals, a very strong panel. Bitok locked always. Have a blessed day, dear friends. Asante sana. Langat Evans Kushoto, what's not happening? It can Lord General. But please, labda watu wamejaa sana. Najua watu wanataka kupunguza mzigo, so keep trying. Go to AUKOT Joshua, anasema Julius Msemo Kamia, machua toka. Asante sana. Go to naona mamsha Momo, asante. Lesha Moroti Junior following the show live from Nairobi. Go to mamsa Samuel Kigera, habari ndio hii. John Kibor, this is the best panel. I salute you great intellectuals. More so my 2022 leader Karori Kipchumba. Kumbe jamaa anaenda huko tayari. I don't know if he's running for president or what. Ben asema so Masalin Sheria watching live from Parklands. I like your show GB. Let me learn first questions on the way. Asante sana. Thank you so much Maslin for watching. In tafadhali tuma maswali alafu tuweze kuangalia. Edward Simei is watching. Asante Elizabeth Karanja, good morning. Gerald, good morning to you. Willie Kipchumba Chemeli will say thank you. Stanley Samoe, ask Karori if he's vying for Singishu. Senator Lagat keeps Kushoto. Well structured conversation, no feelings, no psychophancy. Willie Kipchumba Chemelil Ipunguza Mzigo comes back today. I think it will unanimously pass. Tayari link iko pale www.punguzamizigo.org. Ukimbia pale alafu uweze kufanya endorsement. It's on the comment section and that is been pinned, so you can click on the link alafu uweze ku endorse Punguza Mzigo. Bernard Kilo said the danger of undervaluing a property is that in case the government uses the clause on compulsory acquisition, they will use that value to pay you. Yani kangaja uenda akaja bia sakafuni, anasemanga bia sakafuni ishia wapi ukingoni. And then Kim and someone get a good to Ellen Chebito watching live from Qatar. Salimia Wakili Karori. Maslin Sheria. I concur with Dr. OJWANG. But we have to look for a solution to a person who fails to attain his agenda promised in campaign. I think we can impeach them if they fail to attain 85% of it. And as we should all leadership against the campaign promises they make or the manifesto. If they don't achieve 85%, nafanya impeachment. Kiptoa amesha babu Dr. OJWANG, head ya EKURU AUKOT, elder EKURU AUKOT Wakili Kipchumba. Jera, asante sana. Thank you so much Kiptai, good to see you. Faith Washu, these are the kind of independent minds we need, no psychophants. Asante teacher. Tano tena. Wimbo umeanza. Catherine Kirimi, na wamesema wameanza kusema tena 10 nyingine. Tutaenda hapo. Inakuja Catherine Kirimi, Kenyans have become more poorer than ever before. Let's open our eyes. Elfas Sanga Malewa anasema following asante Karori should lead the talk. Njoroge wa Kamau General Bitok follow nikiwa hapa bypass. Asante Sydney Kata, AUKOT my president Maslin Sheria. The present opposition leader in Kenya is much better. They play a role in correcting ruling government. Sio ona wenye tuko juu ya handshake. Haya. Linda Korir, candid conversation. The ones I enjoy, intellectuals should take positions of leadership in this country. Chosa Kinuthia, let's punguza mizigo and Kenya will be a great nation. Eric Eter, muko na pesa kweli. Haya, Philip Watsuli, what happened to Punguza Mzigo initiative iko pale www.punguzamizigo.org. Iko pale kwenye comment section, iko pinned. You can click and then you endorse. Kipto Alfred as the way Kipchumba articulates his point has no difference with Senator Aaron Cheriot. Erasmus Mona, good job Bwana Bitok, following from media feeds. Thank you so much guys from media feeds. Now back to you Daktari. There's a citizen attack law is asking if they can change their names on ID. That is number one. And then number two, because it's a very brief way, you don't need to answer all of us. Right. Just if they can change. And now the main question is, Mutemi wa Kiama was arrested apparently for making a poster of President Uhuru Kenyatta, saying that the person who appears does not represent the country, blah, 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 and should not be given loans. The guy now has been slapped with 500,000 Kenya shillings cash bail. Na mchango inaendelea tukiongea sasa hivi ya kuchanga cash bail. And they're using, which I think was actually ruled as illegal, the section on abuse of computers and you know, and whatever gadgets, phone gadgets and all that. You can delve on that, OJWANG.
Somebody said every country have freedom of speech. The difference is what happened after you have made the speech. So it looks like it's a mockery to our right to express ourselves. A country like the US, which don't even have freedom of speech in their constitution, came to a point of even saying burning a flag is a form of speech. It shows that you are disgusted with your country. Now, how else are you going to public participate into the debate, which is a constitutional right, if you don't have either the name or the picture of the president? And you are not attacking him personally. You are talking about his spendthrift and prone to wanderness, so to speak. So, and you see the highest form of censorship on speech is on content. Time, place is a little better, but when you now say you cannot discuss these issues, then we don't have a discourse, we don't have a country. But I want to help Kenyans that as we work to get the person from US police cells, let us not think that is the price or that is what we were out to do. Let us not forget the IMF loan. The government usually does that. So the victory will now move to Memtoa, to Mechanga Pesa. And then everybody is quiet now. Remember, that was not, we are here because we were talking about IMF. So even as we are struggling to fight for his right, and as he come out, let us not forget that, and that's what government does, is diversionary tactics. So the war has moved from IMF to, and there's now petition to let him out, which is okay. But remember, that is not where the contest was. It was about IMF and borrowing. And so let us not be sidetracked and think of this as the main war. This is collateral damage. Let us fix that very fast. Let him come out, but let Kenyans continue talking of IMF loan. And I think we have been challenged well, that we are the problem. When you look at the mirror in the morning, when you take that selfie, the picture you see is the problem of this country. But at the same time, I'm one of the people who believe there is a logic to our madness. There's a logic to our madness. When people dance and sing Kumira Kumira or whatever, it is because not every
10 million strong.
Right. Not every name can right. Not every name can walk by KEMSA and be given that form. Not every, there was no Tieno. Are you saying there was no Tieno who was praying for a tender also? But how come, or who was walking, and I know a lot of them who work there. Right. How comes, conveniently, there is no Anyango?
We should capture this, Prof. On every day in such a road, there are more Tienos passing than the people, the prayers, the prayer warriors.
The answered prayer ones. So the randomness. If you just went to a part of the street and ask which community do you come from, how come those who get these tenders somehow are extracted from some similar elements? So that is the reason why this person might sing Kumira Kumira.
Professor, the African God lives near mountains.
Okay, fair enough. And not the lake. Okay. So there is a logic that we have been ordered in a certain way. There is privileges that come with some names. That's the truth. There is curses that come with some names. Right now, people expect me to be in the street picketing. I met somebody who is telling me, Professor, what are you doing about this? Why are you guys quiet? And I think by you, he didn't mean lawyers. He meant Luos. This job has been designated for Luos. And excuse me if we are tired.
Your prayers are not loud enough.
Excuse me if we are tired demonstrating as people eat. Excuse me if we feel that, no, if it is bad, let it be bad for everybody. Because it looks like there are some specialization or unspoken rules in this country where it is the people from Kibera and Mathare, yet the lawyers who are supposed to articulate these issues can just go to Twitter and audio and say shame. But it is Onyango to throw 6 stones
maybe
per second.
I add something.
There's also one question is unanswered. Can he change his name?
Can he change his name? I think so, but there's a process, affidavit to the lawyer, to the
Deed poll.
right. Then go to the register of parties. I'm more curious why he will want to change his name, but that is
No. That
Even
is
me, I need to
that.
change it. In my Gerald, the other than so it's Gerald in my document.
You can change. It's
You
the
can
process-
change. You
process
just
is-
get a deed poll, and it's cheap. I think 3,500 the statutory fee, and now it depends with your lawyer. If you go to Tier 1 law firms, it
But
will
you
be
guys
a
are
million.
here.
No.
don't
We
need the
are here
services.
to
Anyway.
do pro bono in speaking to public.
we didn't get law degree online.
When you go to my
paid a
office,
damn good
you are
money.
inviting payment of rent.
Speaking without blinking.
Yes. No, we are here to speak to issues on pro bono. But when you come to the office, we pay rent. And there's something professor said.
But
that one.
hold on, Kidogo. Bitok, as Kipchumba speaks, please pull out that advert because I think we need to analyze it from a legal perspective so we establish whether is there any criminality in it or not.
I'll read it out.
Then we read it. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, there is something I needed to add to Professor. Now that we just came from the Easter weekend, and you know the Easter weekend is a weekend about betrayal and such a things. I think Kenyans also need to document something, Professor. That tomorrow, who is this magistrate who gave a very punitive bail? That is number one. Number two, Kenyans must know that in every repressive regime, it is aided by professionals. It is aided by just the same way the people who betrayed Jesus were not people from outside. It was Judas, one of his disciples. So we
And the
must
priests.
know the person who gave us this bill, tomorrow when they apply to be the judges, Kenyans should be at hand to write the memorandum because it is part of building a greater nation.
Yes.
We want a nation where people who have been in bed with the regime or who have been supported excesses are exposed and they do not move further so that the highest they have gotten is to be magistracy. Because you cannot put a price in freedom in speech, free speech. And the other point is this: if somebody wanted an office where they are not criticized, that office is the office of the husband to your wife. That is the only office where we will not come there and criticize you. We can't come to your house, Gerald, and say you are becoming a bad husband. But if you come and allow yourself to be a candidate and to be a president or to be a deputy president or to be a public figure,
Then you must be
we
Christian.
must look at you through the lenses
Eyes of
of
the public.
how far you are.
Okay, but the question is
no.
that section that has been used, is it being abused or
Which
abused?
section? Okay, I've not seen the
on
church.
misuse of gadgets
under which act?
or computer? I don't know.
Which specific statute?
We will grab it. I saw the charge sheet.
Let me
Look at the charge sheet. But as we look at the charge sheet, let's analyze this advert. As Mutemi Wakiyama has put it. It reads as follows. This is to notify the world at large that the person whose photograph and names appear above is not authorized to act or transact on behalf of the citizens of the Republic of Kenya, and that the nation and our future generations shall not be held liable for any penalties or bad loans negotiated and or borrowed by him. To be honest, as a lawyer, on the face of it, I don't see any criminality in this. People have said worse things about President Uhuru Kenyatta. People have called him a drunkard, including his now handshake brother. They have called him all manner of things. They have insulted his mother on his behalf. I see nothing wrong with this. The context under which Kiama has raised this advert is in the context of these loans and the inability of these loans to help Kenyans. And to an extent, he is right when he says that this person is not authorized to represent us in the borrowing of that loan. Because why? Let's go back to the constitutionality of representation. The Constitution at Article 10 is explicitly clear that before you undertake any action that will have an impact on public, you must undertake public participation. President Uhuru Kenyatta and his political brother Raila Odinga, when they were trying to push BBI down our throats, and when they realized this BBI thing, nonsense as I call it, was so unpopular among Kenyans, they went and pretended that they are now doing public participation in all the 47. So why did he not go around the same way he went, using the BBI, to seek the views of Kenya about borrowing this money? Secondly, he could have also said, taken a motion to parliament and asked members of parliament, we want to borrow, and let them debate the veracity, the risks involving this borrowing. So I see no criminality in this advert at all. It's just an expression from a Kenyan freedom of expression, which is guaranteed under Chapter 4 of our Constitution. It's explicitly clear there. So even assuming, for example, there is a law which, of course, this cyber, I think it might be the Cyber Crimes Act, if I'm not wrong. But it must be under the cyber crimes. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't know why you're not getting a charge sheet. Let me ask.
Assuming.
It is there. You want to post it?
You have the
send it
charge
to
sheet.
you.
Okay.
You can-
Yeah, you can share with this
assuming
gentleman so that we can comment on it. On the
assuming
legality
even
of
that
it.
law is there, it is subordinate to the Constitution. The Constitution is the highest law in the land. And it says so in Article 2, if I'm not wrong, the supreme law of the land. So any other laws, including our customs, rules, regulation, whatever policies, are insubordinate. So the right to freedom of expression, which Mutemi wa Kiama has expressed here, supersedes even that law.
And then the other thing is creativity.
Yeah.
Are we saying Kenya should not be creative in line with their problems? Because ask yourself this, Gerald. There is
At least they are trying to survive.
They-
Uhuru should
Same
be happy.
cyber crime.
yes, there is a Cybercrime Act, 2015 or 2017.
But I thought that was that clause had been.
The specific,
So, Gerald, as Doc is getting the specific charge sheet, there is something we must ask ourselves. Are we saying now people cannot, Gado, Kinagams, and all those other humorists and cartoonists cannot draw some things? Because of what reason? Because they are misusing a computer. I think the danger in this country, you cannot make the economy hard, make everything impossible for Kenyans, and even make the thinking hard.
For us to think.
Yes, we must allow one to happen.
besides, to be honest, I think it's very stupid to say that when I'm using my own computer, I'm misusing it. It's a misnomer. That's a really bad law.
It's my computer.
This gadget is mine.
Yeah.
If I use this gadget,
Can we now come up with a misuse of TV?
yes, exactly. Because
By watching
If you
other
want
thing.
porn,
That is misuse of TV.
The TV.
the mischief is this, and let's be very brutally honest here. The mischief, like Doc I think said, first of all, is diversionary. Let's take away Kenyans from this petition against IMF, and now we focus on the person of who? Kiama. And of course, it is victimization of individuals who are courageous enough, like Kiama, Mutemi wa Kiama, who've come forward to actually say, I'll stick out my neck on this. So, sadly, for Kenyans, we are being taken back to the era of KANU. In fact, the era of KANU before 1992. Because remember after 1991, the repeal of Section 2A of the then old Constitution, people could say as many things as about the former President Moi. And that's when he even said, kama ni katiba mnataka, chukueni, and he formed the CKRC. And he tolerated even and the freedom of expression actually expanded. We are now seeing freedom of expression being suppressed under a new, very liberal constitution, very developmental constitution, especially by someone, because these instructions did not come from the police. This must have come
From somewhere.
from State House. No, not from somewhere. This must have come from State House. Somebody who is annoyed because now Kenya, by the petition now has reached over what, 300,000?
Yeah, I think something to 500,000.
To 500,000. Yeah. You know, so he's seeing his action is actually being exposed, is being ridiculed. Because even I tweeted this photo. Why have I not been charged of misusing my phone? Then they they should charge it then as hundreds and hundreds of Kenyans for misuse. So this is just targeted. I know Mutemi wa Kiama has been consistent in his activism and advocacy against the regime. He's a very good human rights activist, as far as I'm concerned. And to be honest, to charge him of this kind of frivolous is just vexatious accusations, and it's completely nonsensical.
Okay. Since Dr. OJWANG was already has the judgment, by the way, one thing that really that got me off about Kiama, that really got me, Mutemi wa Kiama, quite interesting is he did not deny. He said, yes, I did it. And he clearly said in the ruling that munaona hizi mashamba zao tutauza tulipe hizo maloni. I mean, there seems to be some kind of reincarnation of a revolution.
Mutemi wa Kiama, for those who do not know him, has been very consistent in calling out the Kenyatas, especially on the question of land, and also on the question of misleading history in Kenya. And in fact, there's a time I think he wrote an expose about how the first president of this Republic of Kenya, not the founding, the first president, because Kenya was already there in existence, the first president of this republic, Mutemi wrote about how it was a lie. Kenyatta, the father, never fought for the freedom of this country, you know. So he's been consistent on those things. And then he came to the question of land. How, for example, the Kikuyu community were actually dipped off their land so that then the Kenyatta hived it. I know that's the bitterness that maybe the Kenyattas are harboring against Mutemi Okiama. But you see, they should then arrest all of us because all of us are very disappointed with the Kenyatta regime, you know. So they should arrest as many of us as possible, and we are willing to be arrested. Okay. In fact, we should emulate.
You are willing arrestees.
We should emulate what the South African did during the apartheid. They actually walked into a police station and say, we are ready to be arrested.
But that takes away from all the songs I was taught as a kid. Oh, Kenyatta amefungwa. And I used to shed tears, warm tears, as I imagine. What? There is even a date there. Kenyatta. Right. Then if that person was wrong, that person should be arrested.
No, Professor,
I should get a speaker to be playing those music.
There is something that I thought TDRC will have addressed. The politicization. The politicization of the history of this country to reflect that it is only certain people who did certain things, and you ask yourself, kwani the other people were willing to
were
collaborators. You know, there is so
but you are a Nandi collaborated.
We couldn't. Our nature is militaristic. We can't collaborate with people. It is only a matter of time. We know, and
vindicated.
Yes, and we know. From the people who founded nobody founded the Nandi people, but we know those who came before us. There is the great, may the Almighty rest his healing soul.
The prophet.
No, Jean Marie Serone. There is Chelagat Mutai. There is the great Alexander Muge. So our history is replete with great sons and daughters of our place. But the question is, why is it that when we come to writing history, there are footnotes of part of the struggle?
History, let me help you, Wakili. History are always written by victors, isn't it? The victors' justice.
That's why nobody declares that lions are strong.
Right, the hunt.
They glorify the hunter.
Yeah. So, and that is the biggest deception, by the way. That is where our problem begins. Do you know there are lawyers who fought along Mau Mau? But they're not there. Do you know, I've talked of the guy who came with Pinyo Wacho, Ojejoteko Road.
The people are
the guy was killed by the European. How about Turkana also?
In fact,
this is not a joke. Let us be
but no, let me tell you, if you ever read the...
You play too much.
No, I'm not joking. But see,
They want to ride on the glory.
you are raising a very important question, which is that this claim that certain individuals are the ones who deliver this country is a lie.
Right.
Personally, I remember I came across the accounts of somebody called Count Telek, and how he described the Turkana as some of the finest fighters in East Africa. And they participated. I mean, he read a book called Tales from a Dark Continent. Back in the days, it tells the narrative of how pastoralists of the North, the NFD at that time, actually participated, resisted, colonization. And that's why the Muzungu decided to block us and introduce what they call the NFD policy. For you to go...
To deal with that region,
To deal with that region. Because we resisted. We say, no, who are you?
Yeah.
You cannot come here and start imposing on us a governance structure that is alien to us. So they came up with a policy that you cannot go to the NFD until you are cleared.
You are cleared,
so
everybody from there.
it's true what you are raising. Everybody in this country participated.
Right.
Because it was not only a few individuals or two tribes that were actually demonstrating or celebrating the independence of Kenya.
Right. So the Kisii said Otenyo, who killed the first white man in Kisii.
Yes.
Otenyo was a Kisii?
Yes. Okay. So the history must be relooked at. And then
That's
you
what I'm
see,
saying. We needed TGRC
to
tell
look
us
at that.
how the history of this country has been retold.
Right.
It has been retold in a manner.
So the game is
to
rigged from the
perpetuate-
beginning.
Yes. Because at the end of the day, Prof, look at it this way. And it is in how we tell our story that has even perpetuated this thing of people
course.
fighting for presidency.
and I deserve it because
Yes.
I fought for
because
this.
I fought for
Yeah,
it.
we
And
died.
then
Right.
there is the kind of guarantor loanee kind of a relationship where nyinyi mlikuja juu yetu.
Yes.
There is,
You are a
we
free
not,
rider,
yes,
free
we
loader.
are not in the table because we fought for this thing. We fought for you to come here.
And that is why when it comes to even starting a factory, when we are saying, do we distribute wealth, money to counties based on population or based on landmass? Then you take that factory for guns and put it in Ruiru. And that it will attract more people living in Ruiru. Yeah. And then you come with an argument that, no, 1 man, 1 shilling. Because you have stuck all the factories there in broad daylight and then not diversified.
And someone was arguing on the same thing. Before you get back, I need you to get back on Kiama's case.
Right, in fact,
before you get there's someone who was arguing that Eldoret is already manufacturing bullets. We have it's called
factory, yes.
what is it called? RT.
Kenya Ordinance.
Kenya Ordinary, yes.
Yes.
Yes, and they say it has a lot of
But
land.
it's occupation.
Why not put it there?
But it's occupation. Why?
Anyway.
How come there is no
But is
military?
that a factory of guns or a store of guns? I didn't see any machine.
It's why they store the screws.
They say it
and funga them.
bullets. I don't know about the guns.
How comes there is no military base in Luoland?
The
military base are
you have non-gazetted. You have gazetted.
Condele. We are trying to make
Actually,
a
all of you do not even need military bases. It's us who are constantly fighting either across the border with the Merile, the Toposa.
Okay,
get back on the
but
case.
don't you see?
But
Get back on the
there's
case,
a
Dr.
point that
Don't you see that the military base are given based on who is in power? So that if Moi, Lanet, and all that, Kenyatta, and all that, and so you can see there is none in Western Kenya, there is none in Nini Kenya, and there is a little bit of that, but history has been corrupted. That I know for sure. I've read some history that even say that Tomboya was and Jaramogi were collaborators. Yet this is the guy who articulated our independence. How many people are you going to kill with those bows and arrows?
Actually, Oginga Odinga refused to take over the premiership when the Muzungus had handed over to him and said, until you release Kenyatta.
Yeah, and you have no power to make me a president. That is Odinga. Yet today, all these lawyers and all this.
Call it Oginga Odinga.
Okay, for that clarity, for that clarity. But not just for obvious reasons. But you see,
Sheka can easily
And
go
Sheikh
with
can
credit.
easily claim it was him.
no. But think about it. The Ansheka sat in the dungeon in jail 8 years. That is something, guys.
No, but that you see, that's also another lie that has been told. That, for example, the Ansheka is the longest political detainee in Kenya. It's also a lie.
But he was detained. Let's start from there. Have you been detained?
So many people are. Matiba was detained. Akenano was detained.
Yeah.
A lot of people. So again, many Kenyans, we can have this debate another time. But but I'm surprised the man who was refused even to stand by his own people is now defending this.
The Ansheka. The case. Bring up your thoughts. Okay. Let's give you time.
Yeah.
Exhaust your thoughts, please.
Before I put this phone down, because I'm right. Meanwhile, you can sing, Kenyatta amefungwa so which words amount to false publication?
So the act is
that he lied.
The law is misuse of computer and cybercrime.
Yes, Computer Misuse and Cybercrime Act, number 5 of 2018.
Okay.
All right. So the charges are which words? Those words, remember, this person cannot transact on behalf of the citizen of the Republic of Kenya, that the nation and our future generation shall not be held liable for any penalties of bad loans negotiated or borrowed by him. That which words, those words, amount to false publication, contrary to section 22(1), as read with section 22(2), 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 1 2B and D of the Computer Misuse and Cybercrime Act. So the essence, that as the result, the suspect linked to the respondent to the said Twitter handle and the application, that we found 3 laptops. Man, this is how this guy looks like a criminal. What are you doing with 3 laptops? I'm just trying to be funny. This is 3 laptops. Oh, how many laptops do you have?
You're trying to think like the government.
Right?
You're trying to think
3
like the
laptops.
government.
I have many.
Huh? A Toshiba, what do you do with a hard drive? And I'm reading the charge sheet. And 2 mobile phones, not 1 but 2. So that, there goes the neighborhood. But I think it is intimidation. Clearly, bad things happen in the darkness. Bad things happen when they are people act badly when they are not on the stage. This guy puts the government on the stage and on limelight. And because the government is planning to do more bad things, if you had stopped or finished doing bad things, you'll say, okay, but because I plan to do worse things,
they don't even
and
talk
this
about it.
nagging, annoying person here will highlight me. But then, to me, the biggest misalignment is in our TV stations, in our discussions, and constitutional discussion and debate on how is Uhuru managing his succession. I've read that constitution. There is nowhere, yes, I know he has a democratic right as an individual, but how much time Kenyans are preoccupied. If you looked at the standard headline on Sunday, Uhuru, the master chess player. So, in the name, how do we involve? And Karori, I'm looking at you because almost every discussion on TV has been about Uhuru's succession, which is nowhere in the Constitution. How do we discuss individualized and personalization of power, which is counter-constitutionalism, for 1 year? And then we expect on that magical day, things will line up. Rule of law will come. The right thing will be done. I mean, logically, if our stations and our lawyers and our analysts are preoccupied with something that does not exist and is counter-democratic, because it's about cancelling the people's choice. It's about manipulating and personalizing and using your power as the president to manipulate our election and succession. But that has been the topic for very long.
See,
It is what we call in political strategy conscious rigging.
Okay, wow, preparing people.
Yes, every day you say, you repeat and repeat. But the question that ought to happen is this: why? What disturbs me every day before I sleep is one thing. Why will Uhuru Kenyatta be interested so much in who takes power after him? Because it is a discussion that must be held every day. Because if you are a principal in a school and you are leaving, all you care is when my letter will come, I'll just pick my laptop bag and disappear.
Or I'll hand over to the next person
Yes.
and you go.
So the more we discuss about this issue of saying the Uhuru Kenyatta succession and other things, the question we must discuss is that the topic must be substantive and objective, and not a subjective topic.
What I understand, and I could be wrong here, there is absolutely nothing wrong to discuss the succession of Uhuru Kenyatta. But what is wrong for me is to put him at the center stage as if he's the decision maker of his success.
Who succeeds him?
You know, succession is discussed everywhere. Every time there's a term is coming to an end.
He's the one managing.
Yes, the pathetic thing. The pathetic thing in Kenya is that we have put him as if he's the guy who will decide who becomes his successor. But you know, Doc, you raise a very pertinent question about why are we preoccupied with certain narratives that are even outside the constitutional text. If you look at mainstream media in Kenya today, to be honest, they are increasingly becoming the enemy of this country. Because despite the pretense that people have actually educated, probably have got journalistic degrees or diplomas or experience, they have not been able to think outside the narrative that they are given. It is common knowledge, let's not lie to each other. It's common knowledge that the media in this country is being manipulated.
Agenda setting.
It is corrupt. For example, you can never, for example, even hold a press conference without guys hanging around you and saying, Mazi, how do we go back? You know, so also the question of who owns these media houses.
How do we go back?
Yes. How do we go back? Yeah.
Can stay.
Yeah. And some of the most corrupt political leaders in this country have invested money to ensure that they are either in mainstream media, panels, or their people. So we know exactly that we cannot rely on Kenyan media to raise consciousness of the Kenyan populace so that they can make decisions.
It's purely a business enterprise.
Exactly. If you look at, for example, how they mistreated us in 2017, we had 8 presidential candidates in 2017. The Constitution of Kenya must be Article 138, if I correctly. First of all these presidential candidates are the same constitutionally because they have been cleared by IBC. We are even given state security because if any one of us died, even my deputy, the election was cancelled. Yet the Kenyan media came up with a narrative that we can only consider Uhuru and Raila in a public debate where it's only the two of them. The rest of us supposed, there's even a term fringe. They call us fringe candidates. Yeah? Fringe candidates. Yet the constitution.
We say the 1% voter, the champions of 1% voter.
Fringe candidates. So, but anyway, so that is Kenyan media. And that's why for me, I am now religiously and constantly coming to the tackle. Because I think the tackle, by the way, people really like the tackle.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
People are saying that there's a lot of freedom here. There's, we discuss very topical issues. I mean, nobody.
But I need your reviews. There's something I need. We're building a proposal. I'll need your reviews. Tell me what you think about the tackle.
So basically, I think it's unfortunate that the Kenyan media is not helping even change the narrative or even just take Kenyans to a certain direction where they are able to make a decision. They are not interrogative. They are not critical thinkers.
But Doc, sorry, Wakili Kipchumba, we have jumped. You have around. We were passing it around, and then I know we have skipped you. No. And but we are also fantastic, phonies, and fabulous fakes. The reality is that the only institution that work in Kenya is tribalism
and corruption.
No, I'm not putting it with corruption because tribalism is what has brought check and balance in this country. No, not this damn constitution, not the media at the fourth estate. If the Kikuyus and Kales and whatever are here, Luos are here, they are bringing check and balance. Let us not freeze our thinking to this Western model that work in the Western countries. Look at the history of this country. There have been negative tribalism, but we have multi-party because of tribalism.
But you see, Doc, tribes don't propagate themselves in the public arena. It is media that is funding that idea that if you bring in, for example, 5 major tribes into government, then Kenya will be peaceful. It is the media that is saying that is broadcasting the idea that 2 tribes were at war. For example, 2017, who was fighting? Right. And then if you are the generals of these warring tribes who are fighting, then how come you've gone to the table and then left your warring, conflicting tribes behind you with many problems? So again, yes,
to give you advantage. Finish your thoughts.
Right. Is the advantage? Because I don't think we will have multi-party if it's not tribalism. If the non-Kalenjin, but there is Kinamuge, who died and paid the ultimate price. But it was, you can come as individual, but as a community, there were a base that the Luos created a base. The Kikuyus created a base for opposing Moi, and multi-party came. So there is an element of check and balance in our tribalism. I think so. And so
if you say that, Doc, and I don't want to monopolize this conversation, and I differ with you there. You see, then you are advancing the narrative that only bigger tribes in this country matter, because let me tell you, there are only about 5 bigger tribes, or if you stretch, maybe around 8. So what happens to the rest, the 37 plus, the Ogieks, the Sengwers, the Boni, the Malakotes, the Boranas, the Turkanas, the Sambus? So don't we matter in the political equation of this country?
The problem is this. When we come at discussing the table, when people are fighting for food at the table, the people who are discussed are those in the table. Those who are eating crumbs will be discussed about who ate the biggest crumb. Because, ask yourself this, with tremendous respect to small tribes in this country, they make us a better nation. Yes, as people are fighting about who becomes president, Akuria is fighting about who becomes the next deputy governor of Migori. Their struggles are not the same, so you cannot band them together. There are tribes in this country who are fighting to be chiefs of villages. There are kings of this country, the Sengwers, who cannot be 3,000 in a population. So you cannot bring the battle of Turkana, who are, I think, 1 million by now.
We are more than that.
Yes.
It's just that also the statistics have never favored the small tribes, because the narrative has been that our numbers don't matter. But actually, if you look at it, even in terms of average alone, an average family among pastoral communities about 7-8 children, even with 3 to 4 wives. So how come the numbers don't say exactly our population?
No, when
and yet you come to the big tribes, watoto wanne, maybe wakijaribu sana 5, which means they're not nomadic.
Let us go back to the point. The point is this. One, the institutions of this country have always worked in a manner that they work. It is like a factory where the shareholders have certain interest outside the company. Let's say, for example, we are a company here producing tomatoes, but the shareholders like pigs. We will make sure that all the waste products from this tomato company will go to pigs. Cows will never have anything. So it is the same with Kenya. Even when we look at the institutionalization of our institutions, they are made in such a manner that will tell you something. Go to KRA, for example. Go to Kenya Pipeline. Go to KenGen. It will tell you that go to, for example, Telecom Kenya. It will show you that as things happened, there was a tribe that was dominant in this area. Go to the judiciary, for example. For the longest time, people don't know that it is the tribe that Professor is talking about being marginalized that is the majority in the judiciary. Why? It has an historical foundation. Have you ever asked yourself, Gerald, today, why is it that we have never seen a fabulous Kikuyu human trade unionist? Is it that they are always collaborating with the employers, or what happens? Those are some of the questions that once we sit down and debunk, we will move forward. But the questions being brought forward by Professor, that ethnicity has provided checks and balances, is a question that ought to be discussed in a PhD class. It has got me thinking. Is that actually one in this country, tribalism is an institution.
Try to sanitize some of the bad things that are
even
in a democracy.
We are not sanitizing. Yes. It is why we have media outlets like the Tackle, where people can think and ask themselves. For example, before a bank started lending, where did it get its first money? Those are the things we do here. Before M-Pesa started doing what it was doing, E-Pesa ya kwanza ilikuwa wapi? Before
bundles. Wanatumia nini kutengeneza bundles?
Yes, and it is by asking those questions that we do away with this sex history where they say no, Turkana fought for anything. We look like Turkanas were home guards of Wazungus.
That they are a footnote. They have never been a footnote.
They are not a footnote. They are part of this country. We are a great country because we must acknowledge each tribe.
The only concern I have with Prof's analysis of, you see, it's a misnomer to relate tribalism and checks and balances in a democratic society. For me,
because it has not been linked that way by Western scholars.
No. I appreciate the fact that you are being autochthonous. Is it autochthonous? Yes. I was thinking. I appreciate that. I appreciate that you are bringing some originality, but I think that originality is misplaced, because democracy, as we are attempting to practice it, because you see, if we truly wanted to use tribalism as a check and balance, as Prof is trying to, and I like the fact that we can stretch our imagination here.
I'm not stretching and I'm giving you examples. No, but Dr. AUKOT, just 1 second. No, for real, I'm not joking. I'm really, this is a well thought, and I've studied this both devotionally and scholarly. You know,
We've been reflecting.
you see, the constitution you wrote
Yes.
on behalf of Kenya
Yes.
start by saying, proud of our ethnic diversity.
Yes.
We rejected melting pot.
Yes.
We said we are coming as diverse people.
Yes.
That is the constitution.
Yes.
Sections on cultural rights, section on indigenous knowledge system.
Even the recognition of small tribes
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
communities. Yes.
So
And then BBI is saying you should
So-
be happy about the black skin.
right, so right, the black pride, because we are decolonizing ourselves, and where did the rain started beating us? It is by simply associating tribalism with everything evil, or not tribalism but tribe, because do you know? And I've lived in Kalenjin land. I went to school in Ukambani. Do you know that those local people who cannot understand one single Luo and doesn't understand Swahili, and when you go to Kalenjin, they will try to sell to you in Kipsigis, is not shocked or think they will treat you any different because you are not a Kipsigis. It is the elites who are funding tribalism. So tribe pride and the tribe contribution by itself is not a bad thing. We know that. But then let us
Absolutely.
look
And
at
that's
you.
why we milk the Maasai tribe every day.
Right.
We get so much dollars from the
From
Maasai.
them, and dollar exchange. But look at it this way. The very person who brought to us tripartite separation of power did not foresee handshake, where opposition leader in Upper Hill, now ministers report there. The same, all right, but that's our reality, isn't it? So we cannot freeze our thinking to the Wesleyan model only.
So will you then
but
say,
let me complete.
by that analogy,
Let him finish.
will you then say
Let him finish
that because a figurehead from one tribe, which is unfortunately or fortunately
That's
your
what
tribe,
white people call it.
yes,
I don't call it that way.
Okay.
It's not a figurehead because look, where is Raila's tribe?
no, but you are dragging the entire tribe when you use that
No,
analogy.
because-
you are because, but you're going to say, if you're going to say that tribe is a check and balance on democracy, and I have a problem.
Sometimes.
Actually, and I have a problem with that analogy, even if it's
I know it's shocking.
No,
So let's call this shock therapy.
okay, fine. So it's shocking for me, and it's for me. I find it not logical at all, and even intellectually deceiving, actually. So, but I think let's use one individual, because it is not the entire tribe. For example, in Upper Hill, it's not the entire tribe from Central Kenya that is in State House that's
Okay.
now checking on the other.
No, let me further. Allow me.
Just let me help this. I think Entari and Prof, we are having a discussion which more is a discussion for the conscience. But at the end of the day, what we must ask ourselves is this, is that even as we talk about the tribe, what we must not lose is the fact that for this country to have peace, and for our politics to move forward, there must be peace at the tribal level. You can't bring peace to this country when there is no peace at the tribe level. That is why the turmoil in Mount Kenya has costed Uhuru Kenyatta his second term, because it is that turmoil that has brought us where we are. We actually, for the longest time, we have been saying Mutu asiongele 2022. It has been a big agenda than even buying medicine in this country. We have been managing William Ruto in 2022. Why do you think Uhuru Kenyatta fights William Ruto? He does not fight him because he goes to coast. He fights him because the turmoil caused in Mount Kenya is attributed to him. So that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, there must be peace at that place. And why do we have turmoil in Mount Kenya? Because actively or inactively, Uhuru Kenyatta has not allowed the mountain to grow another successor. And it is I know
have a serious problem with it.
as an intellectual at your level, you might not want to agree, but intellectualism and all it comes with must also live in a reality. We cannot live intellectualism at the ivory tower. That is why we occupy Twitter and brokers are in
at the same
parliament.
time. But you see, let me, and this is a very pregnant point, though, because one, you know, for me, and I've studied discrimination. Yeah. I do, and I teach even critical race theory.
I'm happy you studied. I lived it, and I live it.
But you are looking at a witness here who have been discriminated more than you, even living in the States for 13 years as a minority. But look at it this way. You see, saying that AUKOT is a Turkana and OJWANG is a Luo is no discrimination. Saying that because I am a Luo, therefore I deserve more than you, that is discrimination. Discrimination must take an extra step. And I want Kenyans to understand that. So diversity and difference is not discrimination. Otherwise, we have been pretending. We have people who have been speaking English but doing the tender, tribalism tender. We know that. So it's not about language. It's not about that identity. But secondly, if you look at our identity politics, even in IR, we have what we call identity wars. Yes, it has been a tribe. My brother, when Luos were in opposition, it was even our chickens in opposition. And we were creating check and balance. And we were being laughed at. It is young people at the university like Nairobi at the age of 18 and 19. Do you know how many Luos have died and have been killed? Young students fighting Moi. Now, that
You
created...
could say the same thing of the Kikuyus.
Yeah, and any other tribe, and I'm not being exclusive.
And there are many others.
And I'm not being exclusive.
could
But
say
the
young men.
ideology, I'm saying it became an institution. Just like
Including some challenges.
Absolutely.
A lot of challenges also who killed
a number. No, but as a tribe, the base of opposition and opposition to Moi was in Nyanza and in Kikuyu land. That is the truth. And there's nothing wrong with that, acknowledging that. But some people came as individuals. Now, when we talk of institutions, beyond the Wesleyan model of institutions we are given, that media is fourth estate, you are the one here who have described how useless media is, and I agree with you. Their job is to hold mic to politicians, and there is nothing serious there. How have we reached where we have reached? It's through dissent.
So Doc,
just 1 second.
Yeah.
It has been through dissent. How have people dissented? It is because some people have said no. So when generally the coalition and then the small tribes, very important, God bless their souls, have also coalesced around these agendas. When the Kalenjins and the Kikuyus combined in the first term of Uhuru, with other people generally, but that was the base, that's the reality. The other tribe that remained in NASA brought check and balances. Actually, we now realize there was nothing like opposition. It was the tribes which were opposing, and when they stopped because Raila have given handshake, where are those institutions now? Where is parliamentary committee? Where are they quiet? Where is media?
So then,
Yeah.
and for me, you brought in a very important one, and I can understand your intellectual, very analytical argument, but the reality. Let's go to the reality. We use the idea. You've used the idea of tribe, which for me I've got serious reservations on as a check and balance on the rulers and the democracy.
Because colonizers demonized it.
No. So let me make my point, and I think then you should be brutally honest with Kenyans and go beyond your analysis and say individuals have used the tribe to purport to check democracy.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Actually, in our history, always. In our history, I think always, because there have been figureheads in those tribes that have emerged to purport to fight an existing regime as a check and balance, but it's been a lie all along. Because today, even assuming, for example, tribe was used to check and balance on the leadership of, say, Moi at the time, then it came to now Kenyatta. Then, now that those individuals are moved into government through the handshake, for example, why isn't then the tribe, the general tribe? Because, we're talking about the mass members of that tribe. Yeah. Why isn't that check and balance still continue?
Because there's no leadership.
No, because you see, that's why I have a problem. Because it is not about, you use the word the tribe, then you should be talking about leaders from a certain community that dupe their tribesmen and tribal women into believing that we're actually checking the current government, but they are using them for purpose of their own selfish gain. Once they got into government, they forgot all about them. And the history is there. 1997, we went into partnership and cooperation. I heard guys saying we are partnership, cooperation. You know, then it was one individual.
You don't need to do that.
No, but you see, but that was generally what was out there.
Yeah.
Then another 10 years, the same thing was repeated. 2007, again another coalition government. Then thereafter, 2017, 10 years. So it's a 10-year period. An individual who persistently failed but uses the tribe. You know, even right now, the Kikuyu community will say, and the Kalenjin, they were used. But today, even when I speak to my fellow Kikuyu friends, you know, they are the ones who complain the most. Why? Because their businesses have crashed under a regime that is headed by their one of them.
That's the
and
negative
that for
side.
me is a misnomer. And I think going back to law and going back to the idea of finding a nation or finding a country that's united, I think, whereas we may disagree that let's not talk about the Westphalian model of democracy, whatever the case may be.
Only.
Unfortunately, we adopted it because if we truly want to deconstruct Kenya into then tribal narratives and regions, the mistake then we made is by saying that let's be a republic. And by bringing the idea of republicanism, then we are saying that somebody has to lead this republic. But the way this person is leading this republic is not the same as the way tribes led themselves. Because among tribes, for example, cultural traditional tribes, there was a succession politics where even Wazee, when it reaches a certain age,
it was more democratic than this.
It was more democratic than this one. So
there was no constitution. There was no IBC.
They will sit.
No, there was constitution.
They will sit back. They had unwritten constitution.
What is the constitution?
Unwritten
The social contract.
The spirit was there.
So they will
the letter was missing.
There was they will retreat and allow the young one to take over and now take care of the community.
Yeah.
Today, what is happening is complete balderdash.
We need to draw from that.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, we need to draw from that. But what I'm telling you, I
don't like the way I'm saying it.
I don't like it when people drag a tribe in describing democracy in a Westphalian model.
No, don't be.
I think also the other thing, Daktari is failing the trap. He's failing the trap of being a Republican defender. We all of us, you must.
We are seeing how it's failing.
Yes, you must find a place to patch in his point that autochthonous, constitutional, if we will call it. Actually, my English is failing me. Autochthonous constitutional framework, as we may call it. You have said the spirit was there, the letter was not. But what we must ask ourselves from even the autochthonous ways is that power was passed on peacefully.
Yes.
Power was not grabbed. Nobody died because of power. People died because of cattle wrestling in the autochthonous Africa. But in the Republican Kenya today, people die because of power. So we must go back and ask ourselves, what is wrong and what has happened? What value system that came with the Wesleyan constitution model that has changed the architecture of the autochthonous way of living? I think by finding that where the two will enter
the living law.
Yes.
You know,
but
answer,
you know,
let me marry the two questions, the two ideas. There is a solution in our current constitution on how you can even diffuse those tribal ethnic tensions.
Of course.
Let's open Article 130, 130 of the Constitution. Let's read it for Kenya.
The 50+1.
Not even that. If you look at the verbiage in Article 130,
I had both constitutions here.
No, let me just pull it out.
Just paraphrase so that we.
Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, Article 130 of the Kenya Constitution gives the president the power that in forming what is called the national executive, it must have what is the word? It must have regard to the ethnic and regional diversities of the people of Kenya.
Yes.
Okay? Diversity, regard to diversity and ethnic and regional diversity of the peoples of Kenya. Basically, what we tried to answer at that time is the problem that Prof was trying to raise, where the people are using tribes to try and check and balance the top. Now, we even gave a formula in the current constitution that the cabinet shall not be more than 22 cabinet positions. Do you know what the thinking was behind? because we're trying to cure we are assuming if we get a president who is a father figure for this nation, he will then be able to say, in constituting my cabinet, which is the face of Kenya at the national level, I should be able to have even 22 different tribes in the first instance as 22 cabinet secretaries. And in the second choice of permanent secretaries, I should also be able to have 22 different tribes. Do you know, at that time, we are thinking we are 42. I think we are soothsayers, because we had contemplated there will be 2 other tribes that will be declared, so that we became 44. Okay. So that today, even in Kenya, you will have a Muzungu in the cabinet, you will have a nation in the cabinet. So that formula is there.
Chinese,
and that formula, if it was applied by a president who truly cares about and loves this country and sees himself as the father of all the 44 now tribes of Kenya, then we will not be having this debate that Doc is advancing, which I think is right in advancing. But I just see it as a misnomer, discussing it in the context of tribe checking democracy. Because once individuals enter into government, and this is what I tell my Kikuyu shemejis and friends, even though you are told komera thuraku, now, for example, the economic hardships of the pandemic is eating all of us in equal measure, regardless of whether you are Kikuyu, Turukana, or Luo. None of you is enjoying the salary of that one individual who is from your tribe. Yeah, none of my Nilotic brothers from the lakeside are enjoying the trappings of power now and the benefits that come with the handshaker. You know, even if today EKURU AUKOT were to be president of this republic, and God willing, one day I will be. I don't expect all the Turkanas to think that they are now the presidents. And so for me, I think the formula is there in our constitution. Where
no, it is there. But you see, Mr. Bitok, AUKOT comes from the point of view that law is always the solution.
Not necessarily.
And you see, and that's why he has punguza mzigo.
But
that's why
I was excited when I heard that you actually are a teacher of law and development. That's what I did for my master. So I appreciate very much how law is an instrument of social change.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, we all know that we start with very good constitution, and it's through amendments that we bastardize our constitutions.
Or we strengthen them, both.
Apart from when we brought multi-party in 92, generally amendments have been a curse to our good constitution, because it usually, the secondary power to amend have always been misused by the powers that be. So there is an impulse to amend. But if law is the problem, not always can it be a solution. Look at the Northeastern. The Africa importation to the world is the ability to agree without competing. That is within our culture. And I told you, and I told you when I ran, the elders sat and told us, you know, you look educated and you are our son, but this guy is older. Let him go. And that is fair, because Africans' impulse is to agree without what? And that is what BBI is trying to do. That is why we are coming with winners take it all. And we are saying the version of democracy that we want. That is why the US were able to come with the Electoral College and say, no, California with all that population is bigger than 3 states, but we are going to proportionally give other states which are small a little extra, so that we have a better government. Every country envision the kind of democracy they want. It's not cast in stone. So you saw in Northeastern that Haji San, nobody dare to also try being a Senate.
They presented themselves, but they were told,
right. And there's nothing wrong with that in this sense. If we sit, even as a Garissa community, and we say, let governorship go to this clan this time, and the next time, let it go. Isn't that our democratic right also? Is democracy only individualistic? I can also practice it.
I think now if you go the Northeastern way, that is when we say now your autochthonous way of law meets the Constitution, because the Constitution has set a basic minimum that an election must be done. now your autochthony, how you do it, you go to the village and say this tribe,
Let us
or
agree.
this age set
That we do in
should
the
not go to
Constitution.
power.
Plus, also,
This
the
one.
truth for the matter is, it comes with a lot of intimidation
Yes,
and
but
harassment.
at the end of the day,
There is intimidation at the ballot. You are the
You
one
are
who knows how votes are stolen.
no. Listen, Prof. So that
You are
we-
intimidated.
Stop
You are
this
not
impulse
persuaded.
that-
Daktari, so that we move to another topic.
You are intimidated to stop.
So that we move to
But I
another
was
topic.
persuaded.
Listen, what?
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
so that we move to another topic. What we must also appreciate is that politics is also an intimidation. It's a model where the strongest man passes. Look at it this way.
If 1%, somebody with 1% is told, don't come to a debate if somebody has 40 and 40. I mean, that part of it is also logical.
No, listen,
not necessarily.
Let me
I refuse to
explain
accept that.
something. It is intimidation because of this, Prof. There is the financial bit also intimidates you, because if I have 10 million and the professor has nothing, the people will always come to my place.
Yes.
Not because that professor's place is small or he doesn't have a place, but because of his financial, his bank balance. That intimidates already, because one, if today you do not have money, you have been financially intimidated and muscled. So if you try to talk, people say, wait a minute, if you cannot organize yourself, yes, gonya. In Nandi we say tiacha. If you cannot tiach people, or in Kipsigis we say, shortage.
You cannot spray people.
If you cannot spray people, your good is already decided.
And what is
So,
tiacha?
Tiacha is the
untie
bungo. Untie
me.
me.
You know, when you talk here, people say you are holding us. So you untie us, we go and do other things. And I think it's a very dangerous notion.
I think we should write a book about Kenyan democracy.
Someone should do a study.
Yes.
So finish your thoughts, Karori. Sorry,
The
Kanwa.
gonya and tiacha and spray,
Yes.
the impact they have in our politics is that at the end of the day, our politics is founded on intimidation, and our politics is powered by tribes. You cannot, we might have the good discourse about the place of the tribe and the place of our constitution, but at the end of the day, it comes down to two things. You must intimidate people to win power. Look at even how Obama and the good general, what was the name? McCain. How those debates were done. Obama intimidated McCain because of one thing: his intellectual height.
Oratory skills.
Yeah, not oratory. Obama has there are people who have oratory skills, but they are not saying anything. They are moving in circles. Ask these people who quote a lot of proverbs in their tribes. But
And
the
Machiavelli.
intellectual height of some of these people intimidates you. That's why, Prof, no matter how good constitutions are, intimidation is part of it. And
It's part of the constitution.
it's not constitution, it's part of
It's part of the system.
It's a
It's
part
part
of
of the process.
politics.
All right.
Because it is just the way it is made.
Okay, sawa, tunafunga kazi. Let me read the comments, then I come back with the last question, then we go through very fast. Mudua Samuel says, Santa. Okay, Geoffrey Masha, great team there. Kasarani will represent Asante. Bona, wonderful discussion. I appreciate. Wanjiru, Maj, Asante Sana, Makona, you've been active and really appreciate. Thank you so much for being a top fan of the Taco. We really appreciate you. All the way from diaspora, we really appreciate that you participate in the affairs of your country. Vincent Matuva says, critical thinkers right there, excellent debaters. Joseph Maina Kadimo, there's some comments I wanted to read, but they have disappeared because there are a lot of comments coming in, so I've lost a number of them. So probably, I'm really sorry, guys. I'll try and get back to those comments later. Joseph Maina Kademo, Githeri Media is rotten. Ndio maana tuko na hii Pilau Media. James Mwenda anasema
You know, Githeri is a very good delicacy.
Githeri Media is actually
It's
the
a
mainstream media.
well-balanced meal. And most of us, when we were in high school, tulikula Githeri tena.
Up to date, it remains my favorite meal.
Yes.
Because of lack of competition.
The only thing you need to
Just
remove
Mwenda.
is media.
Okay, there's only then Githeri remains. So how do we call the mainstream media? No, because it's been called. I think it was called
Think of
Githeri.
my word.
Okay. Asante sana, tuko na Pilau Media. Just Mwenda, our media exercises. Mudura is good also. People wanakula Mudura kwa giza. James Mwenda asema our media exercise the prerogative of the AUKOT. Max Kimeli some what media, which means media is not there. Roger Kitu, succession discussion should be objective and issue based, and a performer like Uhuru should never appear anywhere. He should be ashamed of putting us into the deeper hole of death and hide indoors while sober minds discuss how to fix this mess. Shadrack Wandago, is it true Dr. Kenyan media is the worst thing ever? It has failed terribly. Max Kimeli, listen to Joe Ageo last night on The Gang and you understand media is bullshit. Alex Mayore, Dr. Duncan OJWANG has sanitized tribalist culture by saying it's what is build multi-party democracy. Politics. Why do we need multi-tribe parties? We'd rather stay in one party state. And on panelist wasongea, I think ilikuwa Karori, wasongea Mike Langate Evans Kushoto. Karori tumia Mike. Karori. Ndakuwekea lapel sasa next time. Haya, Mask Meli anasema this Karori is very sharp. Asante sana. Memo anasema Karori 100%. Haya, Stanley Hotel anasema let's say 300,000 signatures for Punguza Mzigo. Punguza Mzigo, www.punguzamzigo.org. punguzamzigo.org iko hapo kwenye comment section of that. Click and endorse the bill ili tuweze kusonga haraka upesi. Tobias Omondi Ogola, very mature and balanced debate without psychophancy. Thomas Onserio, tribalism is a basic need for political alignment. At this moment you can see Jubilee coalition, big tribes came together. NASA coalition, big tribes came together. Now One Kenya Alliance has big tribes. I'm sure even 2022 same school of thought will be followed. Haya. Wanjiku matches stop already. Tribalism has been spotted. Erasto Munia says AUKOT should accept that. 1. Tribalism is the driver of Kenyan politics. 2. Tribalism, tokenism and arambaism is the diesel. Rigging is the mechanic or fixer. And the prof is accurate. We lived as independent tribes before Muzungu came, so we can't run away from that fact. Hi, Alex Mayore, prof has asked a serious question. Since Raila joined Handshake, opposition died, which means it's tribe that was running opposition, not ideology. So tribe indeed checked democracy. Pauline Cherop, today the tackle is lit. Thanks, Gerard. Santa sana, Pauline, for coming in. Mwema Steve, umepotea sana Mwema Steve. Even on Twitter, I'm not seeing Mwema Steve, Mwema Steve. And some politics is tribal. Santa sana. And Kimunyo, leadership is about development. If the leader chosen, whether by people or by the clan, leaders does not advance the lives of the people, what good are they? Cyprian Ongeri, financial intimidation is intentionally included in our political system to serve the dynasties and the rich politicians. Haya. Johnson Kariri, very sober debate. Asante sana. Felix Rotich, good discussion. As young guys, what is the way forward to solve this shattered country of ours called Kenya? Felix from Australia. Thanks. Thank you so much to the guys from the land down under Australia. I really appreciate you. By the way, tunakuja America. August. Tuko America. Tako liko America August. Thank you for the guys who are making it happen. We'll be
I have my ticket ready.
Tako is going to America. Yeah. Then we go down to Australia. To Canada, then Australia.
When it will be in Australia, I'll be there.
You'll be there in Australia. So everyone should choose a country.
I have interest there.
You have interest. Yeah. Akona a branch of I don't know how to mention.
The branch there.
You know, a lot of relationships have a branch in Australia.
Yes.
So, you know,
Si wote aliwapeleka Australia sana.
yeah. So we are coming to America very
Ni
soon.
wote aliwapeleka Australia
Yes.
sana.
So we must go there to say hi to our
Tutakuja alafu tuende Australia sasa. There are a lot of tacklers actually in Australia. America, so we go Karori utakuwa kiparabara hiyo. Huyu ni mtu wa America na huyu ni wa UK. So tutapeleka UK.
But he minority there. Why do you want to take the tackle to be a minority media?
You don't want to take him back where he was traumatized for 13 years, so sure. Kwa nini unapenda kutesa mtu?
Elisha Giga.
He's the only street child who will be going back to the street.
Willing.
Elisha Giga says the local community start of being in opposition. Time for others to take over. Who are ready? Haya. Alex Manyora, how do we tribalize our politics? Punguza Mzigo, endorse there's Manyora. Asante sana. Endorse Punguza Mzigo, www.punguzamizigo.org. Alafu unaenda pale unafanya endorsement haraka upesi. Jane Mumbi, Jane Pasafani, somebody should put a share link at the end of that form. Haya, asante. Oeke, tafuta share link pale.
Okay.
When you end at the end of the form, there should be a share for WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter. Directly from that. We can do that for you with a small fee. The biashara. Jerry Dodi Sokongo, and so the problem is we have is that number 1 and 2 joined hands through handshake and number 3 disappeared. Welcome Karori. Asante sana. Wasema karibu sana Australia. Chunga ziko na kufanyia management. So now,
how come this Australian trip is exciting, Karori? Have you seen you even almost jump out of his seat?
No. The thing is,
I told you, it's very personal.
Can you please come out?
Let me dispel rumors and the bad fear. I just have, I think, a childhood dream to go to Australia, and now that I'll go there as a tackler, it will be even better and merrier.
How many children think of Australia? Hiyo ni uongo bwana. You can't even spell Australia. Last year I was thinking of Australia. We are not children.
maybe nostalgically or consciously, he probably has a relationship with the Aborigines, the original people there.
So I always thought of Australia. When people talk of Litain, I always thought of Australia.
I know why. I'll tell you off air why Karori is very excited about going to Australia. But anyway, still on Karori, there seems to be hints that the president might not be going home after all. He's been telling us, and I tend to agree with OJWANG. If someone has to tell you every time, naenda, then haendi. Is that what has to say? Now they're talking about elections in 2026.
Gerald. And I'm saying this with tremendous respect to the profession I come from. I'm not allowed to discuss
Unconstitutional things. Two, I'm not allowed to philosophize logic and common sense that a man should breathe to survive. I'm not allowed to. I'm saying that with the risk. I'm discussing a topic with the risk of even being disbarred. For the simple reason. These are among the offenses or those things that a man commits by thinking, how do you even stop as a nation to think that we will extend the term of Uhuru Kenyatta after what he has done to us? And even if he had delivered, if he had built a road to all of us, to our villages, he still has served his term. When we visit Article 142, it sets the term of a president to be 10 years. Maximum he can serve.
Actually, it's maximum.
Yes, he was given the first term of 5 years that it ended on the Tuesday of the second Tuesday of August. The 5th year, and his last day in office will be on when you read now Article 136. When the new holder will be sworn in. That is, and you can actually calculate it. I think it's the 31st of August, if there is no election petition. So, what Kenyans must avoid is this, I'll call it spurious thinking that is being, it is a narrative being sold, Gerald, to try and see if Kenyans can buy into that. And I'll say that is hogwash. Two, with a parliament that has been bulged to a corner, they can buy anything. And you realize that our parliamentarians have the sheep mentality. It is always about them. So if today Uhuru Kenyatta was to turn up in parliament and tell them, guys, look here, I want a term, I want an extension, they'll do it. But what must Kenyans do? Kenyans must do that which the Constitution has said. After the term given to Uhuru Kenyatta under Article 142, he will be lacking the moral authority to exercise that power. That power we gave him under Article 1, we the people. We have donated to him the power. On that evening or at the midnight of that given day, Uhuru Kenyatta will not have the power. The power will have come back to us. It's like I leased to you a land for 2 years. On the midnight of the second year, the land comes back to me. It is not a movement that you need we do not need cube movers to get our power away from Uhuru. It's like a spirit. It will come back to us. So let us not legitimize this discussion. When his term comes to an end, Uhuru Kenyatta must do the right thing and go home. And we are not asking him. It is a constitutional threshold. That's why
the matching orders are already there.
Yes.
Okay.
He can manage his succession the more he wants. He can build all manner of things. He has the power as given to him by us now. But when the time comes, he must leave Project Kenya as intact as he found it.
Okay, the spirit will leave him on August, when some midnight of August 1.
Yeah, 31st.
The spirit will disappear.
The spirit of power will disappear. It will come back to us.
like the way the spirit to run for president in 2012 was until the Madimoni.
So the spirit will.
Okay. What's the question?
The issue of there seems to be an architect or plan to extend the presidency.
Well, they cannot extend the presidency like Karori said.
That's it's Corona.
No.
Nini.
That's but then why don't they post government during Corona? so that then
So what could happen if, because this is a government.
No. Have you stopped paying taxes because of
Yeah,
Corona?
but the question is, Karori, and I know my good friend will try to be more of a realist. You guys are now, he's arguing as a lawyer, arguing as a lawyer. This is a government
even
that has...
this one is a lawyer.
No, he's a realist. He's
a
a lawyer,
teacher.
but he's
He's a
arguing
teacher
as a
of
The
realist.
teacher of law, he has
Yeah,
the premium
Come on,
the premium
thing is
on
that-
him.
Why there is a professor here?
No, the
the
thing is,
premium
guys,
on him is higher than any other because he's also bringing forth
the
the future lawyers.
Okay.
So if he fails, he
then we
fails
have,
our own
even the generation
generation.
of lawyers are failed.
Yeah,
Now,
and
the
you have
question is,
failed the
guys,
Kenyan, the future
there's
Kenyan.
something I want to bring into perspective. This is a government that has proven to do the most unthought about things. It has the audacity, if I was to use the right word, it has audacity. We talked about BBI is a paper tiger. Right now, it's becoming almost a reality. It's a government that has discarded logic. It's a government that Wananchi are complaining about loans and saying this thing's burden is too heavy for us. The president is busy launching arms. He's not even talking about it. So it's an administration that has shown contempt to its people. And the question is, in Kenya, wanasemanga, mahali kuna moshi, basi kuna moto. Somehow, you'll get fire there. Where they smoke, there's fire. They could talk about it and we take it as a joke until it becomes a reality. This is a government that does not listen to the logic of law. It has disbanded the constitutionalism that was founded on this country. President Uhuru Kenyatta came in on a dispensation of a new constitution that he was born to honor. He has lived like a guy who was in the old constitution, the colonial constitution. But so it's a reality that this thing could be pushed. In that case, EKURU, what will happen?
But see, Bitok, I agree with you that the Jubilee administration is the biggest joke that ever happened to the Republic of Kenya. In fact, it almost reminds me of the first or those first speeches of the then so-called first president of the Republic of Kenya, when he said that at independence, he promised Kenya 3 things: the eradication of poverty, disease, and ignorance. Nothing like that happened. In fact, we slowly, I think, to be fair to the Moi administration, I can say that he did very well in terms of trying to eradicate ignorance by, doing a lot of schools and all that. Moi did all that, and everybody can say today some of the institutions. But this one has actually destroyed even the semblance of those things that have been achieved. It is so disappointing when you talk of Jubilee in the context of Kenya that we even have an administration, or you can even talk of an administration.
It's an oxymoron.
It's an oxymoron. Now, to the question about whether they can extend the presidency or not, of course it's not possible, not under this constitution. And my conscience is telling me that the people of Kenya will not accept that, especially in the wake of the pain this administration has caused them. I don't see Kenyans accepting them. And let me tell you, it will not be rocket science. Okay. People also used to think that Moi will never go home. Yeah, but you see, there was a level of magnanimity with Moi in his sunset years, when, for example, he even allowed the constitution making process to go on. In coming out steadily to say that I will not run again, I will respect the constitution when the 2-term was done. There was magnanimity. But this is very disappointing for a fairly younger person, even compared to Moi's age at the time, even entertaining or dangling the false narrative that, I am going, but we can see the actions speak the opposite. That's unfortunate. So like Karoli said, I don't want to disabuse my profession, which I love so much, because this is my bread and butter, to even speculate on unconstitutionality. Personally, I think it is foolhardy to even discuss that. Why will Kenyans, honestly, even contemplate an extended Uhuru presidency with all that we have gone through? Why? In fact, and I go back to the question that Prof addressed much earlier in the show, that we are preoccupied with certain narratives which we know are very wrong. They are not even within the constitution. They are not democratic. Why? I think even in this show, let's distinguish ourselves from that other media. Don't want to call it Githeri, because Githeri is a very nice delicacy. Somebody call it another name. That bad media.
The Mutura media.
Very Mutura. The people who really love Mutura. But I think to help Kenya and Kenyans to move forward, let's also try to run away from propagating certain dominant narratives which we know are very wrong. No. Like now the idea of just discussing whether Uhuru term will extend or not. Why? Where is it even in our books?
The Constitution.
Is it even contemplated? Okay. You know? There's nowhere.
OJWANG.
Maybe Prof has a realistic.
As they have said,
Don't be opinion shy.
as they have said aptly, this government have combined incompetence and arrogance. No, it's one thing to be both incompetent and arrogant.
And they have achieved.
And they've achieved.
Arrogance.
That sounds more real and scary, and it's more like what they're practicing. Because we know, originally, as a student of good governance, I've even looked at handshake as a tool of governance, and I know that it has allowed more impunity because it gave the president leverage to do his worst. Because of that being comfortable. So, yes, people can imagine, Atwili talked of this guy is too young, isn't it? Yes. Murathe talked of after they have ushered in the new world and the new constitution, whom do you think we should trust with running the dream? And I think at some point it was contemplated as a political experiment, but not all political experiments succeed. A handshake actually for Uhuru brought even a possibility that I might maneuver. Somehow all I need is Raila, and if I have Raila on my corner, I can kind of bounce back. But of course, the fortunes are dwindling, and it took a nosedive, and it's not coming as you will have thought. But again, so they might try, but I think our protection is the Constitution, and I agree with them that let us not honor and hallow imaginative thinking that are extra and undemocratic and unconstitutional. It actually, they are the things that have kept President Uhuru from being a lame duck president, who is managing his succession. And so everybody is there hoping to be picked. That is the only reason that nobody among these main leaders criticized their loans. You saw what even Mudavadi was talking about. He's just saying, I could negotiate better.
You can work with the corrupt.
Right. Yeah. So he has found a way. So it was a political experiment, but not all political experiments succeed. Especially the extending, if there is any of that thought, it could have come once in a while in their mind, but it is getting, as Nigerians will say, impossible. Meaning the word impossible is combined with cannot to become very strong. Right. Because impossible is strong enough, but not strong fully. Cannot is also, and when you combine them, then you find impossible, which talks. But I mean, so we have been jogging on the spot for long, and I think our naivety and the veil of ignorance is being lifted. I've always looked at back to IMF because that was a big thing. If you look at how Western IMF and World Bank, but how Mzungu eat, Mzungu eat using a fork, using a knife. He cuts the meal. I mean, it's so arrogant. So you give somebody something, they first chop it. Then they have a fork to poke it. That's how they have been handling our economy. You see. You see, and Roland have talked about it because you can see the culture of dismembering things. In fact, they have been practicing FGM on our economy all this long. So the way you give him something small to eat, where is a knife? Where is a fork? So he cuts it, poke it, put it in his mouth, shove some to his mouth, cut it again. Look at how Chinese eat. Whole. They take 2 sticks, even if it's rice, you put it there. You don't cut your meal. And it's a philosophy. These people have this.
Chinese are not cutting and they're eating as
No, there is honor. my grandmother, my grandmother. Right, but the way you are written also matters. The process. I mean, you are a lawyer. You know, my grandmother kept saying that if you have to do the wrong thing, do it the right way. Don't be wrong in what you're doing and also doing it the wrong way. IMF and World Bank are doing it the wrong way. I think, on your question, let us not honor things that are nonsensical. Not nonsensical that the topic is nonsensical, but if Murade Atuoli come and say Uhuru is young, ignore that talk.
No, but Prof, Uhuru might be young, but let him go and chair Brookside.
Yeah,
We need to be fair.
There's employment.
Yes.
But now he kind of likes it because he now know how to make his own money. But at the end of the day, I think we are doing ourselves injustice to take my 4 degrees. Which were not online, by the way. I paid a lot in dollars. So some of your degrees you paid in shillings. I paid for these things in dollars. To sit here.
Now, is this the issue of arrogance from some people?
To sit here and discuss Murade's thinking. Another Tuoli and Sonko thinking. Yes. And use my doctorate and degree to discuss Murade thinking. So let us not be scared. It is a path made by walking. You know, I come from the village, though I didn't grow up in the village. But when you go to the village, the paths are made by walking on it. So it's not an original path. By the way, that's a constitutional theory that Africans have come with a theory called path made by walking. You know, it was just grass, but because somebody walked there, tomorrow somebody walked there, then the path is created. It is a shock therapy. So that the more I say this, the more I say it, when it comes, you are not shocked. So they are lowering our immunity so that your body do not overreact. You know, by the way, yes, inoculating us. Yes. You know, even people die out of COVID, from what I hear, is because when that virus get into the body overreact. Because it is so strange. And that is why we now talk of herd immunity and all that. So people who come from, for example, Africa, and this is a research done in India. The reason we don't die as much is because there's the germ theory. We are used to dirty things. And our body have seen some bad things. So that when COVID comes, it doesn't. It just the body does not overreact.
It's at home.
Yes, but the people coming and you know they pull that out because that is the why. At first they thought it was genetic, but they say no. How come African American who have the same genetic like Africans are dying more in the US? Then they say no. It is the germ theory. These people live in a clean environment. That if the virus get to the body overreact. All those mucus, all those lungs failing, is the body trying to protect you, isn't it? And overreacting, but failing the system. It attacks itself.
So thank God that you came back.
But now, right. But before we really thank God, let me finish the point that in other words, the more you inject this debate in public and the poor political hygiene, as Mutunga says it, the more you bring your nonsense to me, the more I become inoculated and used to nonsense, that the shock value diminish. So let us have a sensitivity and intolerance. I will wish to see nausea. I will wish to see a Kenyan vomiting and running to a trash can because he has heard what Murade is saying that Uhuru could think of retaining, detaining, or coming back. But as long as it's something somebody tweet and say, yeah, but you know this is Kenya. But that is where we started dying.
The question...
Okay. We are 30 minutes past time.
Yes.
Please.
Just as I conclude,
But there's a question I need to answer.
I'll give it to you.
What we must ask ourselves is this. Uhuru Kenyatta is young from doing what? Obama was younger than Uhuru Kenyatta.
Clinton was.
Yes. And their numbers in the economy were better than his. what are we talking about? Why we even have those timelines that one man will rule for 10 years if he's lucky and go home, is the constitutionalism acknowledges, or the constitution acknowledges, that every man has weaknesses. Don't allow those weaknesses to be there for so long. If we have already noted his weakness, Uhuru Kenyatta's weaknesses, falling in love with Shylocks like IMF and World Bank, asonge utulete mtu mwingine. The other thing, this useless and overrated thinking that a man who promulgated a constitution must implement it is useless. The people who wed you do not come to use your wife. It is you. Nani enda kwa nyumba na pastor anakupeanga pete kanisa na anabaki kwa kanisa. It does not promulgate your wife. So even Uhuru Kenyatta, even Kibaki gave us a very progressive constitution, but he went home. So let us run away from this dustbin thinking, this useless evening thinking that a man can overstay. Doing what? I know they started with Nairobi by trying to play games with us. I know but where we are going, Gerald, and I can tell Kenyans, it might look like it is dark, but you still have the light to brighten this country. Let us go there. Let us walk to our limits. I know one of our limits is Uhuru Kenyatta. Let us walk there.
You walk past that limit. All right, I'll give it to you to answer that question as we wind up. Let me just raise the questions, then I give it to you. You answer, alafu tufunge kazi. Another Felix Ojen sema it's because Australia is the best when it comes to system of governance. Dr. and have a look. Haya, Max Kimani sema wakale na and Australia ni mashemeji. Kiko na sema tafuta ticket papa. EKURU tembea huko Australia. Naona nani kuna jamaa amesema nini ya Bernard amecheka Langat. Evans sema Bagulewa Karori kwa Australia. Lakti Rapsodit Bagulewa Karori kwa Australia bwana, wacha afurahi.
Taxes na inaibiwa wakitunulia ticket hawa viewers kuna ubaya. Karori afike Australia ama ni nchi gani ile? Si ni namna hiyo Bagulewa.
Haya, Fate was
I know even the location.
Very directly.
Yes, atuende kuangaika.
Fate was anasema 2 times period. Sana Max Kimeli anasema wanafanana na Ekel. Alex Manyora, the good thing about Ruto is that he's shifting the politics from the tribal and angles, but truth be told, he's used tribe to get where he is. He knows if tribe is the determining factor, he can't win. So he's shifting it to economic. Sifri Anongeri 2022 kura tutaipiga come rain and sunshine. Uhuru amaliza aende nyumbani. We shouldn't even think about it. Haya. Basi ndio nasema situations are more likely to be created to prevent unconducive environment for elections to be conducted. Well, Alex Manyore anasema Kenya has launched an arms factory but we are still importing toothpicks. Ushenzi. Victor Manuel sema tell AUKOT is the reason we are here today because he agreed to go for second election when others boycotted. I think you will answer that as a question you will answer. Max Kimari says in Ruiru all the places where Wanugu and Washushu or Wagogo or Washosho originated, where do they set these arms? Max Kimari sema boycotted or not, the boycotter is in government. Abbas Njuguna says
so almost that
Abbas says we are worried why we really need arms and guns at this time when you only expect COVID donations from mask, vaccine to oxygen cylinders. Max Kimeli impossible. Max Kimeli says FGM on our economy. Ian Case impossible. Martin Goni, what did Dr. eat before coming to the studio? Hii ni mtu wa soya kama alipitisha dozi ya soya. Chemonya ngeta sema watching barbaro zangu zimeisha. Pole sana. Rich Forest Statista College List. Asante sana Benedict Ketwan. It is getting interesting. Max Kimeli, Amurada and Atwali thinking. Perfect. Abdul Nasir said something like that. Haya, we need that cut. Producer, tahitaji hizo cut utengeneze vizuri. Max Kimeli, shock value diminished. Max Kimeli, we compare retirement age to African status, but constitutionalism is compared to the US. Nana Bishop Peter Mugendi ameweka YouTube yake hapa, sijui anasemaje. Christopher Sang, jamaa plantation pale pale America anasema this has been a great show, amazing wisdom across the board. Asante sana Benedict Ketwan, Karori, you are smart. Kiprotich Koromicha all the way from Nakuru CB, that's amazing show. It has been asante sana at the tackle for the show. Thank you so much Kiprotich Koromicha. Christopher anasema karibuni USA, Kansas City is ready for you. Asante sana August, tunashuka tunangoja jua bwana, nataka kukufa pneumonia. Stanman anasema this debate has been fire. Leo terminologies used makes me learn new things. All right, you can
so for me as I conclude I just want to say three quick things in a paragraph. One, I think I want to agree with Karori, and I want to agree with Daktari, Profia. This thing of regurgitating the conversation around Uhuru being young and too young to leave government is complete nonsense, and we should stop even discussing it. After all, he's not the only young person in Kenya. There are more younger people. I mean, millions and millions of younger people who can take. So if youth young is it? I'm even losing my words. If being young is the basis of continuing in government, then there are many young people, and they shouldn't even be in government in the first place.
We just go to Mama Lucy and get the newest born baby.
Newest born baby, yes, exactly.
Become president.
Exactly. So secondly, Bitok, I just want to say, before I forget, I really want to celebrate Mutemi wa Kiama, and I want to thank Kenyans for actually coming through for him. We will be there for him as well. Second, lastly, let me respond to this question, because people have really tried to criticize me on this question, and I find it really unfortunate that people blame me for the kind of situation right now. I mean, I didn't know I'm that powerful until I keep on hearing this thing every now and then. That if a single man like EKURU AUKOT, not single in terms of marriage status, just
with a disclaimer, because of Australia,
because I could be in trouble. So how is it that EKURU AUKOT only installed Uhuru Kenyatta as president? Let me say this. Some of this narrative, this mediocre argument has come from the ODM side, especially the guys who are supporting ODM, and even from the person of Raila himself, by blaming me many times. But I want to say this in response, Bitok. You see, I supported the Raila petition against Uhuru Kenyatta. And actually, I brought evidence of why we should nullify this election. We are the only political party that actually tabled a 20-page evidence of irregularities and illegalities in the transmission of election results, presidential election results. And if you recall the wordings of Justice Maraga, the summary, he said because of irregularities and illegalities in this election, he's nullifying the election. Not even the Uhuru bigwig team of lawyers actually challenged our petition. So I followed the constitution. The same constitution we followed in electing this government. The same constitution we followed in the transmission of results. The same constitution and law says if elections are mismanaged or irregularly managed, you must invoke the same constitution. So I followed the constitution in seeking to nullify the constitution. In nullifying the constitution, in Article 140 sub-Article 3, the Supreme Court ordered that there be a repeat election because the first one was null and void ab initio, as if it never happened. So why would I again run away from the very, very constitution that I used, the same law that I used in nullifying the election? Why should I run away from using the same constitution in the repeat election? What other mechanism were we going to use in electing a government of the day other than the constitution? So Kenya, let's be real. Let's be realistic about this. And lastly, on that point, Bitok, what people do not understand, the NASA game plan was very simple. They wanted to take this country back to 2007, 2008 post-election violence because they desperately wanted to get into government by all means possible. And that means lives could have been lost. In fact, people should be thanking me for what I did, for insisting to win that Justice Mativo petition, you know. And because of that now, Bitok, my last word to Kenyans today is that the people who are blaming me are actually in government today. You, the innocent, ignorant supporter of these people, are suffering and languishing. Yeah. If today, God forbid that you catch COVID, I hope you have enough money to take care of yourself. But they will be flown out of this country in private jets and be treated. And that's why for me, I see this government as one of the biggest mizigo Kenyans have carried for the last 10 years. And that's why we must punguza this government.
Okay.
In the next, and that's why I will say again, please go to www.punguzamizigo.org and endorse Punguza Mizigo, because we must undo the damage, the burden this coalition government, this handshake government is doing to this country.
Okay, www.punguzamizigo.org, www.punguzamizigo.org. Tafadhali kimbia pale kwenye alafu you endorse the document. Someone said here, because of us 38-year-old president, and he's a new president. Anyway, also on other sad news, Nairobi politician Ibrahim Johnny Hamed has passed on, reporting together on Friday morning, April 9, after falling down. Nasikia alianguka Akapass. So pole sana kwa familia ya Ibrahim. Mungu tunatakia kila mema na Mungu aweze kualiwaza kwa wakati mgumu. It's been a pleasure. This has been a very good show on Friday. I mean, this is always the best way to end a week. And really appreciate you gentlemen for always coming in and for giving your 4 degrees that you paid with dollars. To serve the wisdom to Kenyans, EKURU AUKOT, asante sana for always making time. KIPCHUMBA Karori, nashukuru sana kukuona and I hope to see you guys taking over the leadership of this country in the coming years. Though OJWANG amesema siasa aliachana naye wakati aliambiwa ati ulisema anasemaje ufungue anasemaje.
Somebody has just reason to say that Kosovo has a 38-year
yeah, that is the other president. Hiya. Asante, thank you so much guys for tuning in. This has been The Tackle, and The Tackle ends now. We love you again and we see you again on Monday. Tuonane on Monday. This is The Tackle, and The Tackle ends now. Bye-bye. Take care. See you.